The following podcast may contain adult language and an abundance of salt. So unplug and tune in, because we're talking human simulation movies. Welcome, everybody, and thank you for joining us on this episode of the Salty Nerd Podcast. I am your host, Alex, the Salty Nerd. And just a quick reminder, this episode is available everywhere where you get your podcasts at: Spotify, Apple, iTunes, and YouTube. I'm joined, as always, by my fantastic panel of nerds. Matt Vader's here. What's up, dude?
Hey, bud. I'm here.
We got something going on today.
We do have something going on.
What do we
We got some stuff.
We got some stuff.
We got some stuff.
We're going to be doing a giveaway tonight.
I'm trying to do it without
There
the
you
light.
go.
There.
Okay, so we got a DVD of The Goonies.
Yeah.
We also
Your
have,
favorite movie of all time.
Fuck that movie. We also have Godzilla, King of Monsters.
One of my favorite movie of all time.
And are the pins a different thing, or are they going in the package?
No, we're just going to throw them in there.
Okay.
You might even throw other stuff in
So
there.
this is how it's going to work, guys. We've got 2 code words throughout this episode. So you have to tell us what both code words are. Go to saltynerd.discord.com, hop into the contest chat room. It's going to be a separate chat room just for this contest, and let us know what those code words are. What's going to happen is we're going to take everybody who has the answer. We're going to take them all those names. We're going to put it up in a pool. We're going to put it on the little internet freaking lottery thing, and we're going to pick one name that comes up, and we're going to ship those to you.
I have to stress one thing.
What's one thing?
USA only.
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm very sorry for our across the pond listeners, but listen, I'm not spending $80 to ship
80. That's cheap.
Yeah,
$10 worth
postage
of movies
is so
over.
expensive.
It just can't happen. Not right now.
I sent Corey Conradi a freaking mug for $200.
Oh God,
Yeah.
it's insane, guys.
Yeah.
But
We've learned those lessons the hard ways,
Yeah.
you guys. And sorry if you're not in the U.S., you can't participate. We're really sorry about that.
If you're US based,
yeah,
hop into saltynerdiscord.com and type in the 2 secret codes that are going to come up during this episode, and you will get one of these 2 episodes. Are we sending it up as a package too, or just 2 different people? It's a package deal.
It's a package deal.
Oh shit!
One winner.
It's
one winner.
One winner for a package deal. 2 DVDs and a box of stickers and pins.
If this goes well,
We'll do more.
We'll do more stuff.
This is a test.
It's fun. It's just fun stuff.
It's
for
just
us
a
to
fun
do.
little thing that Vader just decided to do yesterday.
did. He
We
was
were
at-
like, you know what? That does sound fun.
Where are we at? Target?
Yeah. Like, oh, those look fun. I'm buying these for our people.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very
Cool.
good. All right. Jude is also here. What's up?
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Thank you so much for these drinks.
You're welcome.
I've had 3 by now, and I'm freaking toasted. Matthew Kadish, the man behind the curtain. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. So this was my week. I got to pick the theme, and then we picked these movies to kind of go with it. I'm very excited to get to talk to these. But before we get going, I just want Jude to point out her shirt so that other people can enjoy it.
Move it, yeah. Duck, duck, goose.
Yeah, from Top Gun.
Top Gun. Anyway, all right. So today's theme is human surrogates or human sim. So it's like kind of like a metaverse thing where you're in a it's weird. It's a weird theme. Where'd you come up with this theme from?
It's basically about like Avatar. Well, you know, the whole metaverse thing nowadays, where basically the idea is that humans can't operate in the real world anymore, and so like they go out and they have avatars that they use to interact with the world through, and it's kind of becoming slowly becoming a reality.
It kind of is, yeah.
And so like I just thought it'd be fun to do a week talking about movies that almost predicted this.
So we're doing Bruce Willis's Surrogates and Gerard Butler's Gamer. And then last, we're talking about
Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One.
Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One. That's right. Yeah. So it's going to be a fun week. We're really looking forward to this. Thank you guys for joining us. Before we get into our first movie, we're going to take a quick break. I'm going to take a sip of my drink, and then we'll get right into it. Welcome back, everybody. All right. Before we get into the first movie, Jude has a message for you. Take it away, Jude.
Hello. I'm going to give you the synopsis of Surrogates in just a second, but before I do, I just wanted to talk to you about how you can help support us and the show without spending any money. So first of all, wherever you're watching, just hit the thumbs up button or leave us a comment. We love comments. We always read them. And if you're listening to the audio only version, just scroll down, hit that 5th star, and leave us a 5-star review. It really helps us out. And also, if you have time for it, leave us a comment. Again, we always read them, and sometimes we read them on the show. And if you have an extra couple of bucks during the month and you want to share it with us, We accept and we thank you very much for it. And we have a Patreon for that. So you can join us at saltynerdclub.com and you can join at either the $5 or $30 tier. And that gives you access to 4 extra episodes that nobody else gets access to every single month, and our backlog of all of our content. And you get to do fun stuff with us, like every month we do a trivia based on the shows that we do for Patreon. And we're always in Discord at saltynerddiscord.com. And we're chatting with our fans and our patrons. And we're in there every single day. And you can be a saltine with us. And now, 2009 Surrogates, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 1 hour, 29 minutes. This gentleman had a budget of $80 million. What do you think this brought into the box office, Alex?
24 million.
All right, Vader.
I think you're high.
I am not high.
No,
I'm
no,
drunk.
no. I meant
There's a
your number's
difference.
high. Like your number's high.
Oh, okay.
What'd you say? 24?
24 million.
I'm gonna go $1, Bob.
I think that you will be disappointed to know that this brought in, with an $80 million budget, $122 million
What?
at the box
Bruce
office.
Willis, bro.
Wow. Was this like his last good movie?
Good? You call this good?
Look, I'm not gonna lie
No.
to you guys. Listen to me. This was my favorite movie of the week.
Get the
Yeah. I don't know why.
I can't talk to you the rest of the podcast.
Well,
I
you
kind of
know,
want him to leave.
I'm sorry, but this movie kind of freaked me out.
Well, yeah, it's a sad
It
movie.
Fucking freaked me out.
Yeah.
And the other two movies, one of them pissed me off, and the other one was just Steven Spielberg spending a lot of fucking money. So this movie, yeah.
So people have no reason to listen to the rest of this podcast then, as
I
far
guess.
as your opinion is concerned.
No, I just, I didn't pick the order we're reviewing these in. I know I'm off from what you guys are thinking, but there's a lot to unpack in this thing, and I feel a lot of it like I take a lot of this movie personally because it's weird. Yeah, but anyway, Jude, you got a synopsis to do, so
Yeah, sure. All right.
I love your synopsis. By the way, I know you weren't here for it, but when Tom was doing your synopsis,
synopsis.
synopses, freaking amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So I got to edit them this week, and I just got done. I was like, this is fucking amazing.
Yeah, the Connor McLeod one was my favorite.
So good. There could be only one. And I loved it because, like, this is a little behind the scenes stuff for our people. But, like, when I'm editing Jude's synopsis, when Jude has, like, a long synopsis and it's like a minute and 2 minutes long, I have to take clips from the movie and, like, put it together in a way that, like, lines up with her synopsis. When she did the Fortress synopsis, and it was literally one sentence, I did 2 clips.
Chef's kiss.
And it was amazing. So thank you.
You are welcome.
Take it away.
In the future, everyone is bullshit. Not daring to be seen without their full-size Instagram filters, the gross humans use surrogates to go out into the world to live their lives for them, while the soft, old, delicate versions of themselves stay at home, hooked up to VR pods controlling their counterparts. It's great for keeping kids from getting kidnapped, keeping the cops from getting shot, and keeping that bod in smash form. When a couple of surrogates are found dead outside of a club, young, tough, full head of hair having cop Bruce Willis and his partner track down the owners and find that they too are dead, and one of them is the son of the man who invented surrogates. Ving Rhames is the leader of a group of people adamantly against the use of surrogates and is also full of shit. Every time he gets assassinated, he just hops into a new surrogate and keeps on preaching to his followers for the end of surrogacy. He's stolen a weapon that can kill the surrogate as well as its user, and he's partnered with the police chief. But speaking of partners, remember that guy whose kid was killed at the beginning of the movie? He murdered Bruce Willis's partner and has been hiding inside her surrogate suit, pretending to be a cop to get the evidence he needs to exact revenge upon the people responsible for his son's death. Also, Bruce Willis's son died in a car accident that left his wife, Rosamund Pike, with a facial scar, and that's why he's blonde now. Discuss.
This is a sad movie.
It's so fucking weird. I hated it.
It's sad.
Listen, this is real life. What are you talking about?
It's so
This is
Dude.
the beginning of the Twitch culture of YouTube video gamer.
Listen,
this
I know
this
100%.
is gonna fucking happen.
Vader's gonna have that fucking blonde wig of his and his surrogate.
dude,
Listen,
he's
every fucking person out there that has an Oculus Rift wishes this is the way the world was, because this is where we're going, and this is why this movie fucking freaked me the hell out. I'm not even joking.
I know you're not.
This
joking.
movie tweaked my brain. Every time, all I could see in when I was watching this whole movie was that character in that old school World of Warcraft South Park episode of that fat, bald, gross, dirty, sitting in his own fucking filth, fat piece of shit playing his game.
Yeah.
Except that's what every human on the planet has devolved into.
Right.
Everybody's fat, gross, full of pimples, got their shit bucket sitting next to them, next to their pod, with fucking catheters attached to their dicks, and it's nasty, and it's just ugh.
You're going fucking dark.
Oh yeah, dude, this is what I see, and it scares me.
You want to go even darker?
Yeah, I do.
Because like this could be seen as a metaphor for life during the COVID lockdowns,
Yeah.
where like the surrogates are basically like the masks that you have to wear outside, and people are just afraid to go outside.
Oh no!
I mean-
Alice is broken.
Well, I'm very drunk right now,
Listen.
guys. Just so you know. So everything's gonna be 10 times amplified with my brain.
the whole concept behind this movie, which is kind of the same concept for all three movies today, but this one took it to the darkest place to me. This movie just it freaked me out.
Really?
And I think that's why
So
it
did
was
it
my
freak
favorite.
you out because you're like, yes, I would participate in that, or did it freak you out?
There's a part of me that would,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but there's also a part of me that goes, no, this
It's
there's
wrong.
There's a
It's
part of
wrong.
me. There's a part of me that makes me go, okay, I need to get my fat fucking ass off the couch and go to the park.
Right.
That's what this movie.
Well,
is
that's
doing
why
to
I
me.
go camping.
Yeah,
I
because
disconnect from everything internet related.
You
and
know-
I go the fuck out in the middle of nowhere and I hang out with
Yeah,
my
yeah.
family for a couple of days.
Did you do pull-ups on trees?
Fuck yes, I do.
This morning, a couple hours ago, I had to get up an hour early today because I needed to go take my wife to the auto shop. I needed to go drop her car off and do some stuff.
Right.
Oh, why didn't you have your surrogate do that?
Well, yeah, it's just like I'm driving around, and so like in our neighborhood, there's a fucking charter school. Okay, so for some reason, everybody in the world has to drop their fucking kids off with their goddamn Lexuses and their electric cars, right? Except they're all assholes. They're all dicks, and they have to all come into my neighborhood at the same fucking time and drive through my area and drop their fucking kids off everywhere and honk their horns and get rude and shit with me because I'm just trying to leave my driveway. Right? It's ridiculous. And the time I drove to my wife's office to pick her car up, I thought like at least 6-7 times, I wish I had my surrogate to do this shit because I'm gonna fucking die. Because I hate people and people hate me and I don't need this world. I was so angry.
This is gonna be a fucked up episode.
You know what I'm saying? and it would be so much easier if I could just like get out of bed and go jump in my fucking stupid pod.
Yeah, but
In
you're,
your
no, hold on.
You know, it's just
wait a second.
It's just
Wait
like,
a second.
It was insane.
Because you are spending the same amount of. I'm sorry.
Yeah, but at least
I don't
I'm
want to
safe.
say. I don't want to say spending. You're wasting the same amount of time.
Yeah.
Sitting in that stupid surrogate chair.
Yeah.
As you are sitting in your car
Yeah,
driving.
but at least if I'm in my stupid pod, I can have my surrogate fucking stop in the middle of the road and go pull out another fucking robot out of the car, put a bullet in its fucking head, and not care because I know I'm not fucking hurting anybody, really,
So
right?
basically, he just wants to be able to murder.
Yeah, whatever. But at the same time, I'm like, and then I go,
Which
what
is
am I doing?
The next movie we'll
What
get
am
into.
what am I thinking? This whole concept is crazy.
It broke your brain, didn't it?
It broke into my brain. Yeah, it broke my brain.
It broke your brain.
I
We're
just
We're not even talking about the movie.
no, but we kind of are because it's the concept behind the movie.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like people are so fucking fragile, weak, limp, and soft that they would rather get out of their bed and get in their other bed in their pod and live their life through a goddamn robot.
Yeah, so there's like two different factions. There's like the people who use surrogates in this movie, and then
Which
there's
is
the
the
people,
majority.
Yeah, and then there's the people who are like, "Fuck that! We want to end that. We want to make everyone stop doing that."
Yeah.
But like the people who've been using surrogates, there's a point where Bruce Willis's surrogate, it gets destroyed, and he has to like just live life in his own meat suit. And he is so unprepared to just like walk down the street and like things whizzing past him and feeling the
Real
world
life.
around him is fucking traumatizing.
Yeah, I
and
mean-
he almost can't do it.
Yeah.
There's an overlying message about how fucked up this is through this whole movie. I mean, every time they show somebody that's in a pod controlling a surrogate, they're fat, gross, covered
Old.
with pimples, got fucking hair growing out of weird spots. And
Well,
stuff.
they're
And
just
it's
they don't take care of themselves anymore because they don't have
probably,
to.
I can smell them through the screen.
Because they're so used to being isolated in their little pods, and they present like perfect synopsis is the Instagram filter.
Yeah.
Instagram is this
That's
movie.
what it is.
Yeah.
It's like, like my wife says it all the time. She's like, I'm watching all these family people, right? Because we have a ton of kids and they have a ton of kids and their life is freaking perfect. And our
No.
life is trashed. And I'm like, no, babe. That's Instagram.
Yeah.
They are showing you what their best version of themselves is
Yeah.
when their house is clean and their kids are well behaved and they have a ton of money and they're doing all this. Like, that's bullshit.
Everything's bullshit.
It's all bullshit.
Yeah.
That's this movie. Like,
We're bullshit.
this is a produced podcast. I edit out the shit where I'm too drunk to talk.
Yeah. This is the best I ever look.
There's
Like,
that.
if you think I'm just all right, this is as good as it gets for me.
This movie, I think I agree with Vader. This movie, to a certain extent, like really freaking like bugs with your brain a little bit,
your brain.
because it puts a microscope on everything that we're already doing and just takes it a step further.
All three of the movies that we're talking about this week kind of touch on the same kind of weird, how lazy can we fucking get with our lives
And
kind
also,
of topic.
like, what's real to you? Is that real or
Yeah.
is this real?
Yeah.
And it just kind of depends on what you want to be real. Because I don't want this old ass overweight version of me to be real. I want the hot, like 20-year-old version of me to be
Right.
real. So that's what I choose.
Yeah.
I mean,
And it's even really interesting. Sorry, Vader.
No.
It's really interesting too. Is like the dynamic between Bruce Willis and his wife.
oh yeah.
And like she won't even touch him.
She won't leave her room.
like,
She
"Ew,
won't
you're
leave
gross."
her room unless she's in a surrogate. But
Right.
like when he's not in his surrogate, she won't touch him.
Yeah.
She barely looks at him because she can't bear to
That-
without his surrogate.
So like once he goes on a hunt for this, there's this weapon that is able to kill the real human behind the surrogate. God,
Yeah, just
damn,
keep
I'm
going.
just so sorry,
It
guys.
turns your brain into
so
mush.
it goes through your surrogate and it reacts with your actual brain and it ends up killing you, which is not supposed to be able to happen. But they
Right.
have the specialized, militaristic weapon that does that.
the surrogates are supposed to be really bulletproof.
You know what?
Sugar-free
My
is
surrogate would never be able to get as fucked up as me right now. Let's. So like he goes on this he goes on this hunt to find this person who's killing all these people, and he ends up injuring his surrogate, in which like an arm cuts off and his surrogate dies, and he's like, well, now I have nothing. All I have is my human body. And he goes and he sees his wife, and his wife is like, where's your actual, like, where's your avatar?
Don't come at me without a condom on, sir.
Like like you look gross right now. And I was like, God, like it messes with your
It
head
messes with your head.
a lot. Yeah. This movie, like I don't love this movie. It's not a great movie. It's a little boring. It's kind of slow. And Bruce Willis does his Bruce Willis thing where he just looks bored in every scene.
It makes a lot of really good points, but it's also not a good movie.
Yeah, right. Like the concept of this movie is brilliant.
Yeah.
But the delivery of it is like snorefest.
Oh, I
It's
hated it.
Yeah.
I know this movie wasn't very well acted, but it's got some pretty cool actors in it. And I think I liked it the most because just the concept of this thing was just so far out there. I mean, we all know we're getting our fucking Oculus Rifts, and some of this stuff.
I don't have one.
Some
Yeah,
of this
I'm not.
stuff, especially like in Ready Player One, like we're going to talk about later, is starting to come true.
Yeah.
Some of that's what the whole metaverse thing is.
Yes. Yeah. Very much so.
And I don't want to pivot to that movie, but we're going there. Okay, this is extreme, but it makes you ask questions to yourself. It's like, would you do this? What side of the fence would you sit on? Would you live with the humans that are like anti-surrogate? Would you Would you have a?
You guys,
would you go down to the? Would you go down to the pod dealership and buy yourself a really hot dude? And a pod? I wonder how much those things cost.
So
do you buy them like a car? How does that work?
Here's a perfect example. Okay, so in my real life, I work in a very dangerous industry where I could literally die at any moment. I was just doing something at work last week where I was like, if I tripped up and I made a mistake,
you're dead.
I'd be off a cliff. It would be done. I'd be over. Alex would be dead, right? I was doing that last week for freaking $30 an hour. I would have 100% put like, oh yeah, I'll do a surrogate and I'll operate the machinery via a remote.
Yeah.
That way I'm safe. But in this situation where you're like living everyday life, I'm 100% against that. I'm like, no. I'm going to go camping. I'm going to go spend time with my kids. I'm going to go out in the real world. I'm going to do some pull-ups, some push-ups, and try not to turn into a freaking slob and just like live my life and be what I am.
I mean, in this world, all four of us, you two are upstairs. Alex is at house and I'm at my house. And our perfectly formed surrogates are sitting here at this table talking like we are right now, going, oh yes. I mean,
where's my mask?
Talk like what we
Where's
talk.
my white mask?
But it's so weird. And
I put your surrogate back on the charger.
Oh shit. Okay.
I don't know, man. This movie just really it freaked my brain out.
We've been talking for a couple minutes. We haven't gotten a single word out of Cater, so I'm going to let Cater talk about why did you pick this movie? What's your synopsis?
Okay, so all week long I kept trying to figure out why.
Oh, he would 100% be a surrogate user.
You think?
No, I was trying to figure out why he picked these movies. And every movie I was like, did you build this week around this movie? And he was like, nope. I'm so interested to know, like, what the fuck, man.
Take it away, Candace. The floor is yours, sir.
Well, we kind of mentioned about how like the whole human simulation thing is slowly becoming a reality. And so like these three movies definitely fit the bill in like kind of different ways. With this movie in particular, so it's based on a comic book actually. This movie kind of followed the storyline of the comic book a little bit loosely, but the comic book was a lot darker. So like, for instance, Bruce Willis's character, his name is Greer. And in the comic books, he's like a cop basically. And his wife is addicted to surrogacy. And so like at the end of the movie, when all the surrogates go offline and people are forced to, go out in their human forms, she commits suicide because she can't handle it. And that's how like the story ends. But in this world, so basically you have this inventor who figures out a way to create some type of neural link with machinery. And he initially does it because he's handicapped, like he's in a wheelchair, and he wants to create an experience where people who have disabilities can function normally in the world. And then the military gets a hold of this technology and they figure out how to make like fully formed like soldiers on the battlefield. So like these machines are like running around, they're like jumping, they're fighting and stuff like that. And so like they become very responsive. And because this is a government funded thing, more and more people start looking at this as the possibility to, get rid of like medical costs and get rid of like crime and get rid of all this stuff. And so the government starts granting people access to these surrogates. They make it legal to basically like inhabit a surrogate and have that be like your representation in life. And this movie kind of picks up, it takes place in 2017, which is kind of funny. But it kind of picks up like right after the Supreme Court rules that like surrogacy is like a legal form of like, existence, I guess. And so like Vader said, it's a lot like buying a car where like, different surrogates have different levels of interactivity, of like exposure. Like, so like there are some surrogates that, you get a cheap rental, you can't feel anything, or the air tastes weird or like something like that. So, and these surrogates are meant to be mapped to your specific mental health or like mental brainwave or something. And the government officials always get like the best one. So in this movie, Bruce Willis is a FBI agent and the FBI get like the top tier ones, top tier surrogates. And it's kind of funny because in the movie, like they just park their surrogates like in the FBI office. And so like when they log in the morning, they're already at work. They don't have to do that commute. And I thought like, that's kind of fun. So like there's a lot of really interesting ideas in this movie. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of talk about them. But the biggest thing is like, this is a Bruce Willis film, right? And it's recently come out, unfortunately, that Bruce Willis is suffering from aphasia. And that's one of the reasons why he was doing all these like crappy movies in recent years, because like he's trying to cash in before he can't work anymore. And around the time that this movie came out, like Bruce Willis was kind of known for being like a little bit difficult on set. And I think that's because like he'd been dealing with like the effects of this early onset aphasia like for a long time. And so he'd get very irritable and he'd like have a hard time communicating with people and stuff like that. And this movie got retooled in the editing process where like basically like their initial test screenings didn't work out that well. People weren't really responding to it. And so like they went back into the editing room to try to fix things up. And one of the things that they needed to do was to have Bruce Willis come in and do some, you know, some dialogue re-recording to kind of like, you know, fix the story a bit. And Bruce Willis was just like, no, fuck you. It's like, I'm done. I don't want to deal with this movie anymore. And so they actually had to hire a Bruce Willis impersonator.
No
to
way.
come in,
Is this where it started?
to come in and do the voiceover stuff. So like a lot of times when you're watching this movie and you're hearing Bruce Willis talk, that's not actually Bruce Willis.
That's kinda,
No way.
That's awesome.
That's so crazy.
But it, like, just audibly or physically too?
No, it's just audible.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I know, like, in a lot of the movies that he's doing now, when you see like the back of him, that's not Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Wait. So what you're saying is Bruce Willis uses surrogate and surrogate.
He did. Yeah.
Well, voice surrogate.
That is awesome. Good for Bruce Willis, man.
yeah.
That's killer.
Yeah, but this is also, I think, the first time that Bruce Willis and Ving Rhames were together in a movie since Pulp Fiction.
I just want to say this. This is
Ving Rhames.
a criminal underutilization. I can't believe I pronounced that word.
Great. Good for you.
Thank you.
Keep going.
Of Ving Rhames in a movie. Like, I saw him and I was like, oh, Ving Rhames is in this movie? Oh, shit. This is going to be freaking dope. And then he's in it for like, he's in it for like 15 minutes, maybe tops throughout the entire film. And he's only doing these like goofy monologues about like surrogates and stuff.
You know what I thought was cool was Barbed Wire's brother.
Yeah,
Yes.
Jack Noseworthy.
Jack Noseworthy.
Yeah.
I feel like he's going to be that guy that every time we see him in something obscure, we're going to be like,
Yeah.
this is Barbed Wire's brother.
We just did Event Horizon.
Yes, this is very interesting because real world stuff, people. I was editing the Event Horizon episode and we were talking about Jack Noseworthy. And I was like, who is this fucking guy? Because Kadish mentioned like, yeah, he was big in like the early, like late 80s, early 90s. He had like a TV show, which was called Dead Before 21. He's like, he was a big time MTV star and all this stuff. And then he disappeared. Yeah. And I was like, he disappeared? That sounds weird. That's like not normal for like an actor.
His SIM went offline.
So like, right. So I went on IMDb and he has been in fucking everything from the 80s all the way up until the early, like 2015, 2016. He's been like small cameo parts in tons of different TV shows. Yeah. So he hasn't disappeared.
He's our new Sven Thorsen.
But he's in everything.
Yeah,
that's cool.
Yeah, it's so crazy. And I was like Googling his name and I was like, oh, he's in CSI.
I
he's
bet
in
we could get him on
this
the show.
TV show. I bet you fucking could. We need to try.
I'm going to look for him on TikTok.
Anyway, so I just, not that I'm correcting you, Kadish, but he didn't disappear. He just like became like.
He just became invisible.
Yeah, he just became one of those character actors that you see in everything, but you don't recognize them.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah. Good for him.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Noseworthy was in this, but this movie is directed by Jonathan Mostow. And his movie right before this was a Kurt Russell film called Breakdown, where the guy's wife gets kidnapped after their car breaks down.
Terrible.
Yeah, and he also directed Terminator 3. That was like his big, claim to fame. And this movie, so, Jude kind of talked about how it made over $100 million at the box office. But initially, this movie was a box office bomb. It only brought in about 60 million, I think, initially. And so like this movie really hurt pretty much everyone involved except maybe Bruce Willis. But the film was shot in Boston, and it's kind of funny because like I was looking at
we could have had Mark Wahlberg in this.
Well, it's kind of funny because obviously there's some scenes that were shot on the Paramount backlot, I think, just based off of like what I was able to notice. But around this time, there were Boston was offering like some really good tax incentives for shooting films there, and there were so many films going on that Mostow would actually go to like the wrong sets on the day to shoot, and he'd be like, "Oh, this isn't my movie."
Oh, get out!
Yeah, he'd have to like drive to like the place
That's
where
funny.
like he was actually shooting.
All of a sudden, my brain is going, how this would be a great Mark Wahlberg movie.
Instead of Bruce Willis?
Instead of Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mark Wahlberg kind of makes everything better.
He does.
He kind
I
of
love that
Okay,
guy.
but the ridiculousness of this just jibes better with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah. See, my biggest
Bruce Willis, the 80s Mark Wahlberg. Or was Mark Wahlberg the 80s Mark Wahlberg? He's been around a while.
He has been around a while. Yeah. I will say, like, my biggest criticism of this movie is actually Bruce Willis. And I hate to say that because, like, recently the news came out, we've got confirmation that he's been dealing with an illness. And I feel terrible for that because I've been making fun of him for way too long.
Yeah.
Everybody has.
Not knowing that.
Now we're all dicks.
So now we're all assholes because I'm like, oh, shit. Like, I feel really bad for him.
You're on the wrong side of history, my friend.
I know, right? I'm a dick. And I was watching this movie, and the whole time I was just thinking, I'm like, man, this movie would be so much better if it wasn't Bruce Willis.
Yeah.
Like, because the movie itself, the concept is very interesting. And we've talked about already, like, the ramifications of, like, the real life world that we live in. Like, what if it was more like this? And I'm like, Bruce Willis just seems so bored throughout the entire thing.
Also, his sim is so fucking plastic.
Yeah.
Like, Rosamund Pike still looks like Rosamund Pike.
Right.
I don't think she's CGI'd. He's obviously CGI'd.
Oh, yeah.
It's like early de-aging.
So
But
creepy.
That's what I like about his surrogate.
His stupid blonde hair.
It's this dumb, wavy LA surfer dude flip in the front and his plastic looking face.
Right.
That's what a surrogate's supposed to look like.
It sells it a little bit, huh?
Like, for most of these people, they just kind of like say, okay, well, you're just an actor. These robots are so lifelike in 2017 that you can't tell them apart from humans, which is cool. But I liked the kind of plasticky looking Bruce Willis version. You know what I mean?
I love the scene where they go to the laboratory and there's this very tall, handsome black doctor in the lab coat.
Yeah.
And he comes back and he's like, "What's your name?" And they tell him his name and they look at his badge and it's like some grimy old white dude. And they're like, "Oh, this is me." And his avatar, his surrogate is a tall, handsome black guy. And I'm like, that's freaking hilarious.
Well, that's one of the more interesting aspects of this concept. And in fact, they kind of explored a little bit in the movie where, in a society like this, like you have people who get their surrogates to look like, furries and like, weird face paint. But then you also get like overweight fat guys who pretend to be like hot chicks. Like the entire opening of this movie, there's like this hot blonde club girl.
Yeah.
And the kid who is the son of the creator of the surrogates, he's like making out with her. And then like when she dies, the FBI goes to like the apartment that was linked with that surrogate, and they find like just this like hugely grotesquely overweight dude.
Yeah, it's a grosser, fatter, sicker version of me.
Yeah,
dude. We were just watching a scene with Jack Noseberry. John
Noseworthy.
Noseworthy?
Yeah.
Worthy or Berry?
John Worthy.
I don't know, man. I think Noseberry is better.
I like John Nose Candy.
It is now, man. Keep going.
John Nose Candy.
You're in the 100-yard dash. Just keep going, man.
Is a noseberry the thing that you get when you can't? I'm sorry.
It's like a dingleberry for your nose.
Oh my God.
Dingleberry for your nose. Noseworthy.
A noseberry
Jack
is a
Noseworthy.
sighting of Jack Noseworthy.
I genuinely think we might be able to reach out to this guy because I've seen him in it. I'm like, now that you've mentioned, we just watched him in Event Horizon, and I'm looking at this now. Until this point, I didn't realize he was in this movie, and I'm looking at him like, oh, I'm going to talk to that guy on Instagram.
I love how genuinely euphoric and excited you get when you're wasted.
I'm so fucked up right now. I'm sorry, guys. I really apologize. Halo, like we just recorded our Halo review and I like downed an entire Moscow Mule and I am trashed. Okay.
Get it together, man.
I'm sorry. This movie is very interesting and it has a great commentary on the modern world that we live in.
It kind of does.
But I mean, like if this were real, what would your avatar look like? Would you be interested in going out as like a hot blonde girl?
Listen, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. I think I might be in the crazy cult people, like like anti-surrogate thing.
Oh, you totally would be.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm not into that.
You'd be on the reservation.
I would because I'd be like working out and doing good stuff and eating organic food and like building my own farm and shit. Like that's what I'm into. I like doing that shit.
I'd make a surrogate with a rear gut and a little dick. I mean,
you get the little dick add-on upgrade.
My DLC.
My dick's too big. I want you to upgrade the package to the
with a hyperactive tongue.
The hyper tongue upgrade.
Yeah.
DLC little dick.
Beer gut and a little dick.
Oh shit.
What about that?
Beer gut and a little dick.
And the fucking man boobs. Man boobs, beer gut, little dick, really good tongue.
I'd like the meatloaf model, please.
Like in a world like this where this kind of thing is accessible, this technology is available, like I would wonder like how many people are going to go out there and just turn their Sims into people from freaking Skyrim and shit. Like
I'd get the what's Peter from fucking Family Guy model. That's probably what I would do.
Yeah.
Well, what if there was like a Darth Vader version, like officially licensed Darth Vader?
Yeah,
surrogate?
would you spring for the cash?
Oh no, I'm not gonna give Lucasfilm money right now. Fuck those guys.
We're not even talking about this freaking movie at this point. Look, this movie has a great concept behind it.
It's very cool.
It's very cool. It's very interesting, and it's sad. It's a tragedy. Like Bruce Willis and his wife. I'm sorry, I can't remember the actor's name.
Rosamund Pike.
What is it?
Rosamund Pike.
That's her name?
Yep.
It's a dope ass name. They lost their son.
Yeah.
And in a tragic car accident, which I can't even imagine as a parent, like what that would do to my brain. Like I would just break. And that's what happened to them. And from that point forward, they started living vicariously through their surrogates so that type of tragedy would never happen again. So I understand 100% their attachment to their surrogates.
Yeah.
Like nothing bad can happen to me if I'm in this space. I get it. It's such a sad movie.
Yeah.
It's not great. It's got amazing concepts and it's got a lot of fun. There's really a good foundation for this movie. I just don't think it was delivered quite as good as it could have been.
Yeah, I think this movie wanted to be an action movie, but when you step back and think about it,
Right.
that's not really what it is at its core.
Yeah.
It's so sad. It's
Yeah.
like the Magnolia
Yeah.
of
It's like,
action
have you ever
movies.
watched Bicentennial Man?
Yeah.
It's something I get the same feeling when I watch this movie. Although it wants to be an action movie, I get the same like emotional feeling that I do when I watch Bicentennial Man. And that movie's freaking sad.
Yeah. Like,
And it's about like kind of like the weird opposite of this is like a robot turning into a human as opposed to a human turning into a robot. But it's like it kind of like makes me not happy at the end. It's just
Yeah.
like, oh God. That
it's so
sucks,
sad
dude.
that you actually don't want to watch it.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
it makes you sad. But like when you were talking about the car accident
Mm-hmm.
that his son died in, Bruce Willis's son died in. And I think it's not outright said, but it seems like the wife, Rosamund Pike, was driving or was at least in the car because she has this big facial scar. But like
Right.
we have all this technology in making these robots look like humans, but like the technology is spent on that instead of repairing the damage that was done to ourselves.
Right,
Like
yeah.
she gets out of her VR pod and she's still like scarred and physically incapacitated from that accident that happened how many years ago?
Mhm.
And also Rhoda Mitchell, who plays Bruce Willis's partner in this. So she was in Pitch
Pitch
Black, one of the Riddick movies. And, you know, it's kind of funny because her surrogate is like all sexy and stuff like that. Very hot boss lady.
Mhm.
And then when she like comes out of her pod, like they make her look like as ugly and like and gross as possible. And I'm like, does no one in this society like just like shower like after they get out of their
Yeah,
pod or
everyone
something?
walks immediately out of their VR pod and they're already like in their bathrobe and it's not even tied.
Okay, listen. I'm going to talk to Vader here because like we've gamed.
Should we go?
We've done some gaming,
Mhm.
right? So when you're in like some kind of a huge campaign in your video game, do you take the time to pause the game and go shower and like trim up and look nice and then come back to your game, or do you just like fuck it, nobody's gonna see me anyway?
Not until you're done.
Right. But these people are perpetually never
Yeah.
done, right?
Yeah.
So like, at what point do you need to like? I don't care. Like you said at the beginning of this episode, like you have a freaking catheter in, and
Yeah.
like everything's already taken care of you.
Yeah.
And you don't have to worry
Got
about
your
it.
shit bucket underneath
mean-
the
Yeah.
chair. Yeah.
You kind of don't you have to shower? Like if your surrogate is fucking another surrogate, like you're still experiencing that finishing move. So don't you kind of have to take a shower at that point?
That's
I guess.
interesting. I don't know how
I mean,
far.
I mean,
I don't know how far that goes in this movie.
So, I mean, these things, they have batteries, they have battery charge. They have to go and charge every night. And then I guess, so just like an electric car, I guess you can't drive it while it's charging.
Yeah.
So there is time when you can sleep and shower and shit and stuff.
I think
but,
that's the time that they sleep though.
But this movie, his wife,
She's on pills.
She never leaves her room.
Yeah,
she takes pills and she's gross and
yeah. Which I thought was like, I don't want to say it's a thin veil because obviously there's like
okay, you go to the end of the movie, right? Everybody starts coming out of their little holes.
Right.
They all got their robes and their pajamas on. None of them have had a haircut in 18 months. They all look disgusting and sweaty and yeah. I mean, it looks like probably everybody that's in a hardcore World of Warcraft in-game guild, right? That's how I picture everybody.
Yeah.
So and I think they're spot on. When the South Park guys were making fun of the gamer dude, that's what they did. That's the person that everybody thinks that we are.
This is an unpopular,
and they're not far off.
This is an unpopular saying, but stereotypes exist for a reason.
Yeah, I was that person.
Yeah.
I relate. That's
it.
why this movie freaks me the fuck out. Because we're not far from this.
The only thing that needs to catch up with this is the technology of the avatars.
Yeah, it's more towards Ready Player One is where we're heading.
Yeah,
because the surrogates are
the robots thing.
They're next level sci-fi.
Listen,
stuff.
Boston Dynamics is trying
off.
real hard to turn our lives into Terminator.
Yeah,
but they're not succeeding yet.
Well, there was a shot at the beginning of this movie where you have like this Japanese scientist, and he's next to a robot version of himself. And that was from actual news footage.
And that was from like 10 years ago.
Yeah. So it is freaky.
Japan's robots are next level from us.
I do agree. It is freaky.
They really are.
It really is freaky.
Should we do final thoughts?
I just want a Rosie the robot to clean my house and
final thoughts on Bruce Willis's Surrogates. Vader.
So I know this movie isn't that great. And I don't like I said it's my favorite movie of the week when we started. I don't know if it's my favorite movie of the week, but what it did was it made me think more than the other two movies did. Okay. So just for that reason alone, I'm gonna go like 3, I think, with this one. I think this is a movie everybody should watch because it's a good movie to make you think about how you live your life and where we're going as a society. I know too many people that would be more than happy to just get in their stupid little pods.
Listen, I've put on the Oculus Rift and I've become a boxing champion.
And it's fun, right? It's fun.
It's fun.
But do you want to live your life that way? I mean, I've told you guys, I've sat here and I've said, it's like, I'm going to die slaying a dragon in a virtual reality. I'm going to slay this fucking dragon and it's going to get me so amped up, it's going to give me a heart attack and I'm just going to die in the virtual world for real. I mean, that's probably how I'm going to go. I'm going to retire at my home. I'm going to be 95 years old because for some fucking reason, everybody in my family lives to be 102 years old. No joke. And I'm just going to die slaying smog. That's what I'm going to do. So it is what it is.
This episode of the podcast is going real deep, guys. So get ready for it.
That's where this is. I mean, how many people are dying? How many people in this, if this was the real world, how many people are just dead decomposing in their little surrogate pod? In their shitty little apartment.
Makes me sad to think about.
It's weird, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
this movie makes me want to go camping.
I know. I'm with you.
It makes me want to put my phone away.
It makes me want to go. It makes me want to go to the park.
Yes.
Get a tent and go start a fire and kill something to eat out in the woods. It really does. I'm with you, bro. I'm with you.
Okay, Jude.
So 3.
Final thoughts. Give it a rate.
I'm gonna die in a VR pod.
Yeah.
I'm gonna die but not in the same way as you. And also, I hated this movie. It's terrible. I never need to watch it again. I'm pretty sure it was a first watch. I don't think I've ever watched this before, and I never need to watch it again. Ving Rhames should have been the main character. Bruce Willis's blonde hair was just absurd, and he just looked like a cartoon the whole time, whereas everyone around him looked like a real person with just like better hair. This is like 1.5 surrogates out of 5 for me. Yeah.
Okay. Before we get to Kadish, I'm going to give this movie 2.5. Fair. It's got some very, very interesting concepts, but I don't think the delivery was quite there. And Ving Rhames is absolutely a underutilized character.
Kadish.
Kadish, I apologize. You're the only sober person at this table. Take it away,
I'm,
buddy.
I'm mostly sober.
She's doing a great job.
You guys are super slurry today.
Such a good producer. This tells us about the Surrogates.
So this is a very mediocre movie with some very great concepts to it. Solid 2 stars for
See,
me.
even drunk, I'm right. Any other thoughts?
Nope, that was it.
All right, cool. All right, guys, the next movie on our list.
I got something.
Oh, what's up?
I have a code word.
Oh, that's
I
right.
have a code word.
Take it away, sir.
Code word. Code word. I'm gonna go zombie juice.
Zombie juice.
Zombie juice.
Is that
Okay.
one word or two?
That's 2 words, but
Okay.
the code is zombie juice.
Okay, so go to saltynerddiscord.com, or if you're already on Discord, just join the Salty Nerd Podcast server, and in the contest chat room, type in
Zombie juice.
Okay.
and you will be entered to win what?
These movies and this fantastic pack of buttons and stickers from the Salty Nerd Podcast.
He's holding them
That one's
upside down.
upside down.
They're both upside down.
Just
Godzilla,
Just let it be a surprise.
United
Congo
States,
monsters.
U.S.
You're gonna
listeners
win a
only.
prize.
US. Yeah, sorry, guys. All right, cool. All right, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to talk about, gamer. Fuck yeah. All right, we'll be right back. Stay tuned. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, the next movie on our list is Gamers. And speaking of games, go to saltynerd.com/DC and download a awesome mobile game called Dragon Champions that we all play together. We actually have a guild that is run by one of our patrons, JT, and we have a ton of fun. It's a hero collecting game where you get to collect your heroes, upgrade them, and go on battles and go on campaigns. And then you can join our guild if you get to level 20, which isn't super difficult, especially if you type in the promo code SALTY on the promo code area. It gives you a nice little boost, a little leg up on everybody else, gets you to that level 20 really easily. Submit to join our guild, and then join us, and we can go on raids together. We have a ton of fun. I joined a raid the other day, and I got yelled at by my my guild mates because I did not consult the.
No, you didn't join when you started one.
I'm sorry. So I started one, and they were like,
Leroy Jenkins did.
I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? Sorry, I'm swearing,
and then,
but whatever.
and then the next one I did, or not I did, but somebody else started one, and then I wasn't leveled up enough to join it because I only had 1 3-star hero. So I was like, what do I got to do? Anyway, it's a ton of fun. It's a really cool game. We'd love to interact with you guys in our guild and help build your characters and have a lot of fun. So head over to saltynerd.com/DC, type in salty in the promo code area, and join us. Join us for some cool battles on the mobile game. Okay, the next movie on our list. It's the goddamn best movie of the week, Gamer, starring Gerard Butler. Jude, take it away.
2009 Gamer. Rated R with a runtime of 1 hour 35 minutes. This had a budget of $50 million. Vader, what do you think this brought into the box office?
Never heard of this movie before.
What?
Never heard of it.
Let
I'm gonna
him
say
speak.
$30 million.
Okay.
How much did it make?
How much did it cost?
You tell me.
Oh.
How much did it make?
Oh, I almost had you. How much did it cost?
It cost $50 million.
I'm going to say it made $68 million.
$40 million.
Oh, no.
I win again.
Breaking even. Nobody gets a speed bump.
Oh, no. Okay.
Ready?
Yep.
In the future, death row inmates are used as live action sims that real world people can control. If you win 30 battles, you go free. No one's done it yet, but if anyone can do it, Leonidas can. Under the control of teen demigod Percy Jackson, he's got 29 successful battles and is the most popular Slayer, a term and technology created by country boy serial killer Dexter. Going into his last battle, the odds are stacked against Leonidas. Dexter rigged the game and sent in Slayer Terry Crews, whose job it is to make sure Leonidas doesn't get out of the game alive. Leonidas convinces Percy to give him total control during the game, but then gets drunk and goes off grid, embarrassing Percy's gamer cred. And then a group of insurrectionists, led by Ludacris, break him out and hide him from evil country Dexter and his tech support goons. Next, they break out Leonidas's wife, former Victoria's Secrets model Amber Valletta, who's been simming in the real world, and simming ain't easy when her controller keeps making her do butt stuff.
I gotta edit this. I know exactly the scene I'm going to use.
Team Free Leonidas partners up with talk show host Kira Sedgwick to uncover the conspiracy that landed Leonidas on death row. Dexter was testing out his new tech and did some murder via mind control, and that's how Leonidas became death row fair game. Meanwhile, poor Percy Jackson is in an interrogation room with Agent Keith and ain't getting out till he tells him how he got the beans above the frank. Learning that Dexter also has Leonidas' daughter, they meet up for your standard dance and basketball battle where Dexter tries to get Leonidas to kill his own daughter, but Leonidas is like, "This is Sparta!" and murders Dexter with a little help from Percy and then takes his family on a road trip. Discuss.
Man, that was way better than this actual movie.
Dare I say that was your best synopsis ever?
Jesus.
Fuck yes.
This movie fucking
I
sucks.
fucking love this
Okay.
movie.
It was the butt stuff for you?
That was hilarious. No, it was the freaking basketball tournament.
That was so weird. They had a dance off.
Yes, they did. I
And
love
then
this
Dexter
movie.
just rips off his shirt, and I'm like,
Yes.
okay, fine.
I love this movie. I know I'm on my hill by
You
myself
are
with my flag.
such a fanatic weirdo.
I fucking love this movie.
I like the concept of this movie.
Right.
I like the idea of this movie.
Right.
But whoever the fucking asshole was that filmed this movie can suck
No.
my ass.
Edited.
All right, fuck this guy.
Edited.
The whole movie is made with a camera 6 inches away from everybody's face the entire time. And the rest of the movie looks like a fucking Limp Bizkit video or something. It's ridiculous. It's nonsense. It's like the concept is there. It's cool. It could be good. But man, they dropped the ball hard with this thing.
I disagree. Okay. I understand why it's not of your taste.
My taste?
Stylistically.
Do you know my taste,
I
sir?
do.
How dare you?
I do.
He's never tasted butt stuff in his life.
Stylistically, this movie takes some serious freaking chances on like the editing front. Like
Yeah,
they filmed this movie.
failed.
They filmed this movie one way, but when they put it in the editing bay, they gave it to a freaking teenager who was on cocaine.
Yeah.
I get that.
It's bad.
I understand why you would criticize that. For me, that doesn't bother me that much. It really just doesn't. The concept is so much fun. The characters seem like they're having fun making the movie. Freaking Dexter as the bad guy, he's freaking Mark Zuckerberg on freaking Adderall.
Why is he country?
I don't know, but I love it. It's great. I love his weird little freaking dance he does at the end.
That's
I'm like,
so fucking weird.
there ain't no
That was-
strings on me. I was
That
like,
was so John Malkovich.
dude, I love it. That was great. I love
hold
freaking
on.
Gerard Butler's
Hold on.
amazing in this film.
Fuck John Malkovich. Okay.
Fuck you, Meryl Streep.
Dude, when Gerard Butler goes, he's like, I need you to do one thing for me. Get me drunk. And he drinks the whole freaking bottle of vodka and then he throws it up into his truck so he can drive
Yeah, that was
and do
terrible.
a freaking Marilyn Manson freaking concert while he's driving his
I don't
truck.
think that would work out that way.
Dude, I was like, yes, give me more. It's amazing. It's so much freaking fun. I love this movie.
I hate this movie.
That's good. I'm glad.
I really hate this movie. There's been a lot. We've watched a lot of really bad movies on this podcast.
Yeah, we have.
But you know, even the ones. I mean, this is down there for me, dude. This is like what is like my least favorite movie we ever watched? I don't remember.
Bad taste?
Bad Taste. Okay, it's not as bad as Bad Taste.
What?
It's not as bad as Bad Taste. But man, it's almost
Shopping
there.
mall?
It's a little better than Chopping Mall.
Fuck you.
It's a little better than Chopping Mall, but not much.
I'm offended.
I think this is in my bottom 5 movies of all
Get
time
out.
that we've watched.
Okay, hold on. I got to ask you. Is it literally just because of how it's edited?
It's a lot of it.
That's the only because you like the concept.
I like the concept.
Do you like the actors?
The concept's no different. It's fucking Running Man for the new industry.
That's what
But
I'm
they
trying to
did
get
it
to.
wrong.
That's what
It's
I'm trying to get to.
bad. It's fucking Running Man. Dude.
I'm trying to get to the point where I'm going to make you say if Arnold Schwarzenegger was in the spot
No,
of
I
Gerard
wouldn't like it
Butler,
then either.
I disagree. I think you would think this is amazing.
The concept is good. It's there, but they just filmed this way wrong.
Listen, man,
it is not good.
If this movie came out in the 80s and Schwarzenegger was Gerard Butler, and you got some freaking whatever teenager was popular in the 80s.
See, this movie wouldn't have been made in the 80s because nobody would have filmed it like this.
This movie is The Sims.
It's no good.
It's modern warfare, but like, what if it's real?
This is like some fucking MTV crackhead.
Yes,
snorted a gallon of fucking
Adderall,
liquid meth, and just fucking
yes,
yeah, and that's why it sucks.
And I liked it.
I hate it.
There's two different aspects to this movie. There's the fight to the death aspect, which is the death row inmates,
right?
But then there's just the real world one where he's like, this was his first rendition of trying out this tech where you can either get paid to be controlled or you can pay to control. And it's just this real world land of Sims where regular people are getting ready for work and they're just being used.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like,
and that's the more insidious part.
So like the first person shooter aspect of this, like Gerard Butler is the character that you're playing and he goes on a war battle and he fights. That's a different thing. That's like its own little sphere, right? And then the other part is his wife, who, like Jude pointed out, like you get paid to be a sim for somebody else who's paying you. And you have to just go and do whatever they want. That's like the weird, like dark web shit where they're just a bunch of freaking freaks out there trying to get freaking horny.
Bunch of weird ass.
They gross it up.
Yes.
So much.
Dude.
There's just this like big fatty sitting in his VR chair, just like slopping a waffle with syrup all over his face.
He's sitting there and he's like,
is this the part where you were going to like, don't want to offend me?
I'm not trying to offend anybody. Listen, I'm not the weight that I want to be right now either. And that doesn't make it an excuse. But in this movie, they make a point.
What's your surrogate's excuse?
I wish I had
a little dick upgrade.
The little dick is
my DLC.
He's like rubbing like a waffle all over his face with the syrup.
Maple syrup.
And he's like,
they go.
Do you want to go somewhere?
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah. They go.
So nasty.
They go out of their way to make this large person seem disgusting.
Yeah. Oh,
Which
for
actually,
sure.
Just say fat. You don't have to say large person. You're not offending anybody.
Okay, well, all right, fine.
He's so fat he can't even walk. He's on his little
He's in his rascal.
That was my next point. Like there's a part where like the connection goes out.
Yeah.
And he's just himself now. And he just immediately, like, he doesn't even get up from his VR pod. He just like is zipping around his room in his like
they go to
like the Walmart motorized scooter
a scooter thing.
Yeah.
They go out of their way to make that person extremely disgusting.
Mm-hmm.
And
like when I see these videos of people in the metaverse and all this kind of shit, in my head, every single one of them fucks behind those avatars, it looks like that guy. Every single one of them.
Extremely disturbing.
It's
and
very
the
weird.
fact that he's playing like 120-pound sexy ass chick,
hot ass chick,
just brings it to that freaking 10th level. It's just, or 11th, I guess, 11th level. It's
These
just
go to 11.
Yeah, it just
and
goes to 11.
And they're not even like fake surrogates. They're like people.
They're people, but
and that's the most fucked up part is that you can make these real people do anything.
Yeah.
So the technology behind this movie is, instead of like the surrogate movie, which we just talked about, where it's like a robot that you can control, it's somebody who is allowing this company to inject nanocells into their brain, which eventually takes up the entirety of their brain, to which it can read a signal from outside, like a Wi-Fi signal.
You can literally take
take over another person, but that person is still inside there. So when you're in this freaking society, which is like the metaverse, basically, and Dexter is running the metaverse. He's Mark Zuckerberg. Mm-hmm. And you go into this world and you're like, okay, at this point I'm getting paid however much an hour to let this other person run my body to go do whatever they want.
Do weird butt stuff.
That's all they do. Every single person in this society is just a weird freaking perv.
Yeah.
And they just go out there and do weird freaking sexual shit. And it's so creepy. And I understand why you don't like it. Like stylistically, it's like very flash cutty. And there's like weird music going on, and there's close-ups, and there's like boobs, and there's all kinds of weird shit going on. And I'm just like, I get it. If this is not your thing, if like the MTV style, like weird music video style is not your thing, I understand where you're coming
I'm
from.
I'm 100% sure that Kadish is going to tell me this was directed by a music video director.
Oh, it has to be. If he
Yeah.
doesn't say that in the next 15 seconds, I'm going to be surprised. Kadish, who was this directed by?
So it's actually a directing team that goes by Neville Dean and Taylor. So it's Mark Neville Dean and Brian Taylor, and these are two guys who are kind of like in the early 2000s, they were trying to pioneer this like hyper manic style of filmmaking. Their first movie was a Jason Statham film called Crank.
Oh, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I hate that
Yes.
movie too.
Yeah,
Yes.
and their last film was the sequel to Ghost Rider, Spirit of Vengeance with Nicolas Cage, and they made basically 4 films together, I think 4 or 5 films, and it's all in this style. It's like just like super hyper manic, like the camera's spinning everywhere, like extreme close-ups.
Hate it.
Like very like blatant soundtracky music score.
Oh, yeah.
And story, and they wrote all their movies together, and their stories never made any sense. I went and saw each one of their movies in the theater, except for Ghost Rider. I saw that on video, but I've never liked a movie that they've done together. And Brian Taylor's actually gone on to do some interesting stuff in TV, but Mark Neville Dean is just kind of like language after his association. But these guys weren't music video directors. They were just kind of like filmmakers who got together and were like, let's make some really bad shit.
I'm
On the
shocked.
backs of motorcycles.
I'm shocked. I will say though, because like the music video style, like there's a scene in this movie that Gerard Butler goes and he gets a pickup truck, basically. It's this futuristic pickup truck, and he throws up vodka into the gas tank to run it.
And then he pees in it.
And he pees in it too. And then like once he escapes, like where he's supposed, like it's like a first person shooter, like battle zone thing. And he gets out of the like permitted area or whatever. And then like Marilyn Manson starts showing up with freaking wow, 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 wow. And I'm not gonna lie, dude, I was fucking into that shit. I was so freaking like, yes, this is awesome. And he's getting chased by these 2 trucks with like plows on him, and he's like doing skids and freaking blowing shit up. And it was like all freaking to this like heavy bass. Like I was so into it. I loved it.
Funny enough, Gerard Butler, when he saw the original cut for this movie, like he saw an early draft of the film, he tried to get his representation to get his name removed from the movie.
Good for him.
Because he was embarrassed by it.
Good for him.
Get out of here.
No, it's true. Like he thought this movie was a piece of garbage, and like and legally, like he couldn't disassociate himself from it.
Oh man, that makes me bummed out.
That makes me so happy, dude.
Okay, I'm sure I'm probably the only person who has thought this intricately into this, but the society aspect of, I've said like that's the most fucked up part of this.
Oh, yeah, easily.
Because you're just taking like real life.
Dude, you know how uncomfortable I was watching that scene where Gerard Butler's wife goes into that thing and she goes to the bar and she meets it's the dude from Heroes. He's like the main actor from Heroes.
Milo Ventimiglia.
Okay. I'm assuming you're right.
I'm a savant.
I have no idea, but anyway, yes, he has like he kind of has like a Sylvester Stallone's thing going on. Oh, he actually plays Sylvester Stallone's kid
In Rocky.
Keep it together.
in Rocky Balboa. Anyway, he plays this weird freaking pervy dude who's wearing like
something rape, like Ray Rape. Or
yeah,
something.
Ray Rape or Jack Rape or whatever. And he's wearing like this full spandex outfit. That was a part of the movie where I felt like they did go for too far because they hung with them for so long.
Well,
And
Neville Dean and Taylor are known for just like going past the edge, constantly.
Definitely. I will agree they did do that because there was a scene where they were in the elevator and this character's just like literally humping this chick. And the whole time you can see beyond the avatar is the person who is actually in the body. And she's like, I don't want to do this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It made me feel very uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That scene in particular, I was like, this is too much.
It's too much.
You need to freaking reel that one back a little bit.
There are actually like three scenes I want to talk about with you guys. So the first one is the opening of this movie where they're showing shots from around the world and how this culture has kind of perpetuated worldwide. They've turned it into like bloodsport and escapism and stuff like that. It's some of the worst Photoshop like stuff or like they have like stock footage of like the pyramids and then they just like superimpose like a video on it. It looks like so crappy. I was like, for a $60 million budget movie, this is not quite up to quality standards. The second one is, I don't know if you guys ever watch the show Psych So
I
like
haven't.
it's one of my favorite shows, and it stars James Roday, and he was actually in this movie as one of the kind of like news commentators with the female detective from Psych, Maggie Lawson. And so like it's just kind of funny, like when I was watching this movie, because at the time Roday and Lawson were dating, and so like they just showed up in this movie randomly. I was like, oh, those are the guys from Psych. So that was kind of like a fun thing. Zoe Bell shows up in this movie as one of the death row inmates who gets killed. But I think my favorite scene in this movie is where Logan Lerner, Percy Jackson, basically, he's being interrogated by Keith David.
Severely underutilized Keith David.
I know. How'd you get the beans about Frank?
Yeah.
Like, and so like Keith David's interrogating him, and Logan Lerner's kind of being like a smartass, and he's like, I really want like a sandwich,
Peanut
Peanut
butter.
and jelly,
and
grape jelly.
and he introduced me to pistachio butter. I never
Yeah.
knew what the fuck that was. And,
Well,
and it's kind of funny because like they cut to Keith David. He's like, they really make that?
Yeah, it was a great scene. Like again, underutilized Keith David. Like I saw him in this movie, and I was like, "Oh shit, he's in this movie. This is awesome." And then he never gets seen
They're
again.
actually
Yeah.
a great cast in this movie. Like
Yeah.
John Leguizamo.
Yes.
like
John
Terry
Leguizamo's
Crews.
never not played anyone who's been a fucking weirdo character.
But yeah, that scene where he's like, you know what? He's getting interrogated. He's like, "You're gonna give us this information," and the kid, he's like, what, 16 or 17 or whatever. He's like, "Yeah, I'll give you the information if you can get me one thing, a sandwich with like peanut butter or
Almond butter.
pecan butter or
Walnut
almond butter,
butter.
Any
He's
kind of
like,
nut
any
butter.
kind of nut butter with like grape jam, then I'll tell you what you need to know." And he's like, he mentions all these different types of nut butter, and I'm like, oh, that sounds amazing.
well, when we are introduced to his character, he's putting like this green stuff on like a sandwich. I was like, what the hell is that? And then you find out, oh,
It's
that's
pistachio butter. Yeah,
That sounds cool. I
Do you
didn't know
have
they
some?
made that.
That sounds like something you can go buy at one of those like
Trader Joe's,
fancy ass grocery
Yeah.
stores, like
fucking Whole Foods.
Yeah,
You know what one of my favorite
for like
snacks is?
$12.99 for 2-ounce bottle. Of
Yeah.
it.
What's your favorite
One
snack?
of my favorite snacks. I do this almost every night. I have like a little like tablespoon of peanut butter,
I love peanut butter.
and I take macadamia nuts and I dip them in the peanut butter.
Really?
Yeah, and I eat them. Yeah,
That's
it's
incredible.
like nut on nut.
So
Yeah.
did you?
So good.
She likes the double nut.
Yeah. Did you guys Did you Star Wars fans notice Sam Witwer's? Little
I
cameo
did.
on this?
Yes, he was like a psych analysis or something for the
He was a
wife of Gerard
social
Butler.
worker,
Yeah, social worker. Yeah, Sam Witwer, who plays Darth Maul from
He's also the Emperor.
Star Wars Rebels and Emperor too. He did
Yeah,
Emperor's voice.
yep.
It's great. He's an awesome voice actor. He's also Star
He
Killer.
was also
He has
a
a-
Star Killer.
He has a pretty decent Twitch
Yeah.
channel too.
Yeah, he's a cool guy, and he also hates the Last Jedi. So points
Good
for
for
that.
him.
Also,
I'm a fan.
Isn't that one girl that like swoops in, picks him up on the motorcycle? Isn't she in Star Trek?
So that's Allison Lohman.
Is she the crazy doctor lady?
No, that's
no.
not her.
Oh, okay.
She's not Girardi, but she's
She's
actually
like the gamer chick with the dreads.
Yeah.
yeah, who somehow infiltrated the prison without being noticed.
Yeah.
But she's actually director Neville Dean's wife, and so like he puts her in all of his movies and stuff like that. So
Oh, that's interesting.
Is she
Okay.
not in Star Trek?
no,
I don't
Do
know.
I have a Kurt? Do I have?
She does look very similar to the doctor from the Picard show that they've been talking about.
That's who I'm
She
confusing
looks like
with.
her. That's
Yeah,
why I thought
yeah,
that. I was like, oh, is that like an older version? Like she's because
Okay.
this movie is a couple of years old. I know I'm gonna be alone on my hill with my little stupid flag, but I like this movie. I like the freaking music video style. I like the Marilyn Manson freaking like drop the music while the car chase is going on.
Let me ask you guys, like, if you were given the opportunity to be paid to be like a human sim, like, would you take that up?
Oh,
hell no.
absolutely no. I'd
Not
get
at
some
all.
guy like V over here, be like, hey, I'm gonna take your
Yeah,
audio.
like
over
I
there.
don't honestly see like how
They
like,
make me do like butt stuff. I'm like, okay.
Yeah,
I don't
no.
honestly see how any sane human being would ever volunteer for that, or let alone like the fact that there seem to be zero safety standards
Yeah.
I know.
involved in it.
Yeah.
Well, there was that scene where they were like rollerblading, and the one chick like falls and like busts her elbow, and she's all
Yeah.
bleeding.
How about the scene in the
And-
elevator where the two people were just making out?
Yeah.
she's
And
like,
she gets
"Do it.
stabbed.
Murder them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so creepy.
So this is what I started to say earlier. Like, I'm sure I'm the only person that probably thought about this, but like as a person who's like a lady who's on camera a lot, who's like, oh, I need to try to pretend to be young and fit. So like if I was a sim and my sim was like out making me like fuck dudes all the time and like drink constantly or do drugs. And like for me, it was like, what if they made me eat like carbs all the time?
Like
and then I would get fat and then I wouldn't be usable as a sim anymore. They'd be literally taking away my livelihood.
Yeah, there's a giant plot hole in like what is the benefit versus risk of becoming a sim for somebody else. There seems to be no benefit.
What was the point of being like the NPCs during like the first person shooter matches?
Well,
like those were so weird.
That is true, but they did address that specifically. They said, well, there's these people who
They're death row inmates.
they're not capable of becoming the first person shooters. They're not good enough to be warriors. But if they go into a match and they agree to just have some like pre-programmed nonsense, if they survive,
I don't think anyone's programming them. They're just like pre-programmed like Frogger or whatever.
If they survive that match, then they get free.
Yeah.
So that's like
they just have to do one.
Just one match. If you survive as an NPC within this war zone, if you make it all the way through, then you're free. So that I did see a benefit to. Being a gamer, being an actual person who goes out there and shoots, I see a benefit to. But the society thing, I totally get it. There's a huge plot hole there.
Yeah.
What is the benefit? You're getting paid? How much?
Yeah.
Like, what's it worth?
And they take away your kid.
And you can still... like you're still living those experiences.
I don't want any memory of that.
Like that scene where she was with that creepy dude with the freaking leather spandex or whatever. Like she was like literally crying while that was happening. That's the most uncomfortable scene in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
It's super uncomfortable because she's like, you can see on her face, she's like, oh God, this is literally going to traumatize me. But her controller is like making her be like, ha ha ha, you're so funny. Let's go fuck.
Yeah.
What about Ludacris as the super genius hacker who leads the human movement?
I'm
all right with
dude.
that.
Talk about Ludacris.
Listen, man.
That's ludicrous.
I love that shit. When the Percy Jackson kid is in his room and he's like, he just sees Ludacris and like freaking super large version of him. And he's like, what do you want me to do, my brother? I was freaking laughing so hard at that point. It was so funny.
Ludacris is actually a pretty decent actor, right?
He's fine. Yeah, he's good.
Cool.
He just plays himself and everything.
I think he was probably just on a green screen that whole time.
Oh, yeah.
The funny part about this is when they introduced Terry Crews's character, like he's sitting there roiding.
Oh, yeah.
out.
I love Terry Crews.
And I'm just like, who just sits there and like rages like that,
dude?
Like to themselves.
I'm sorry, Terry Crews on pre-workout. He wasn't acting.
No.
He was just like,
Oh, I'm gonna flex my tits.
go freaking work out in a minute.
He's one of my favorite like pop in like characters of anyone.
Yeah,
like
that's-
every time he pops into a movie, I'm like, oh, I love that guy.
That scene where he shows up at the end in the basketball court and he's just doing that weird little dance. And I'm like, oh, no. They told Terry Crews, do whatever you want, we'll make it work. And he was just like, all right, I'm gonna break dance.
Yeah, and then fucking Dexter was like, yeah, you know what? I'm gonna try and do that too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yes.
Terry Crews is so good.
Terry Crews is amazing.
He's amazing in everything.
Dexter, like we talked about in.
I think it's a shame he didn't get to share the screen with Keith David.
I agree. That's like I said, Keith David, super underutilized character in this movie.
Yeah.
They even named him Keith.
I know. His name was Agent Keith.
It's goofy. It's weird. I understand why people don't like it, but for me, I've watched it like probably over the course of the last couple of years, probably like 4 or 5 times. It's one of those things where I'm like, if I'm in the hankering for like a good Gerard Butler movie, I'm like, I'm gonna throw freaking this. I'm gonna throw Sparta. I'm gonna throw freaking Greenland. Like I'm just like Olympus Has Fallen. Like yeah, dude, Gerard Butler is good as
Gods
fuck.
of Egypt.
Gods of Egypt. That's a terrible movie, but I love him in it.
We haven't watched that one for this.
We
show
haven't watched anything. We didn't need to, like. Do we need to do like Egyptian mythology movies?
We can do an Alex Proyas read.
I'm a huge fan of Gerard Butler. I love all of his work. I
like
can't say his word. I'm sorry.
Everything you said for the last minute has been all one word.
Let's do final thoughts.
I'm sorry.
I just hear, I like this bad movie. I like this bad movie. I like this terrible movie.
I'm a look. Gerard Butler is my generation's Arnold Schwarzenegger, man. I'm just telling you right now. That's how it is. Sparta, all these terrible action movies that don't make any sense. Running Man. It's all just It's just redos.
Don't ever talk shit about Running Man.
That movie sucks.
Never talk shit about
You,
Running Man.
sucks.
You have reminded me of my own kind of drunk safe word, which is if
Gerard Butler.
no, close, but no cigar. In order to be able to tell for myself if I'm drunk or not, I try to say the word Egyptian.
Oh.
So you brought me to that, which is our next code word.
Oh, is that your next code word?
That's our next code word.
What is it? Egyptian?
Egyptian.
Okay, make sure you spell it right because if it's not spelled right, we're not.
Put
gonna-
hold on.
Egyptian
What are
in
we
the
doing?
Discord chat for a chance to win some videos and some buttons straight from the Salty Nerd crew. SaltyNerdDiscord.com in the contest chat.
That's right.
Chat.
I feel like when I was a kid and watching Pee Wee's Playhouse and they did like the word of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's
What was
we're
the
doing.
first word that you picked?
Zombie juice.
Zombie juice and Egyptian.
Egyptian.
Okay,
That's
those are
it.
the two code words. There
Yep.
will be a chat in saltynerddiscord.com, our server. Go down, scroll into it, and find it. Find
If you're listening to this live, we haven't done it yet.
contest. Yeah, we haven't done it yet. Don't try to do it right now. Contest, chat room. Type in zombie juice in Egyptian
Egyptian.
and get your name in the bucket.
You notice how clearly I'm saying it?
Gamer's a good freaking movie. I like it. You guys are all crazy, and we're gonna do final thoughts. Give it a rating, Vader.
How many stars do you give it?
I'm gonna give it easily 3. I like this movie. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Whatever.
That's
it's
fine.
3, easily 3 movie.
All right.
3-star movie. Good. What's your rating for it?
Oh, my rating for it. I'm not going to give it a 1-star crap fest because
Thank God.
it does have.
Terry Crews.
Terry Crews.
It's got Terry Crews was funny in this movie. I did like his character, but Ludacris was all right. He was okay in this movie. So just for that fact, I'm not going to give it a 1-star crap fest. But man, this movie is a pile of shit. Okay, don't fucking watch this movie. Don't waste your time.
You're crazy.
Don't even spend 99 cents on this movie.
I spent.
If you can watch it for free and you just want, like, you have a bottle of whiskey and you want to get really fucking drunk, you know,
And not remember having had watched
and not
it.
remember having to have watched this thing,
Cheers, folks.
then yeah, watch it. I mean, maybe it'll be on like Tubi or something one of these days.
No, dude,
Or-
I rented this shit for $2.99.
yeah, well, you're a
It
moron.
was free on Peacock.
Yeah, that's where I watched it.
Fuck Peacock.
Peacock, you can watch it for free with commercials. And it's fine with commercials. It doesn't really matter. It kind of like flows right into the movie.
Doesn't take away from the experience
No, not at all. So I'm gonna give it 1.5 stars.
Get out of here.
And yeah, this movie can suck my butt. All right, I never want to watch this movie again. It's terrible, and I'm really happy that Gerard Depardieu Butler, whatever the fuck his name is, wanted to abscond his existence away from this
That makes it
pile
better.
of steaming hot trash floating down the floodwater in a dumpster. Yeah, it's awful. Don't
Okay.
watch this. Don't
All right.
watch it.
Jude, final thoughts. Give it a rating.
Okay. So I'm very torn on this movie, not because of the butt stuff, but because I was hoping you get that. So
That's
God,
gross.
I'm back and forth on it because like I hate it. I don't think I hate it as much as I hated Surrogates. But there's so much that should make me want to like this more. Like I love Amber Valletta. I followed her all through her Victoria's Secret's career, and I love everything that she's in. Every time she's in a movie, I watch it because
Who is
I
she?
love her. Amber Valletta.
Who is she?
She was the wife of Gerard Butler,
Gotcha. Okay.
the blonde, who was like, look at
Yeah,
my
yeah,
butt.
yeah.
I hate that her controller was just making her like introduce herself with her ass the whole movie. But I love Keith David and I love Terry Crews. So I'm very torn. It didn't make me angry to watch it. I never need to watch it again. And so I think the tiebreaker on this to keep it out of being a 1-star crap fest is Dexter's abs. So it's another 1.5
Dexter's abs.
Dexter's abs out of 5 Dexter's
1.5
abs.
Dexter's abs.
Oh.
Okay.
Hey man, the rules are made up and the points don't matter. Kadish, what do you think?
All right, so we forgot to point out that John Delancey, otherwise known as Q, is
Yeah,
in
he was
this
sort of
movie.
in it.
Yeah, he was in it for like one scene.
Cameo.
Yep, and this movie is a total 1-star crap fest.
Yes.
It's a terrible movie. I hate it, and if it didn't fit with the theme, I wouldn't have recommended we watch it.
Oh,
so,
it's a family divided.
yeah. So 1 star. This movie sucks.
Okay,
I
we're
mean,
gonna
he's over here on his hill thinking it's a great movie, and he only gives it a 3.
Well,
That's not that great, bro.
It's
You
funny.
guys-
The Rotten Tomatoes score, it's critics
30%.
audience 39%.
Yeah, it's garbage.
Okay, you guys, we have to take a break so that we can basketball dance battle to decide how good this movie
like
is.
the ending of the movie where like, oh, I'm controlling your brain, and he's like, imagine me sticking this knife in your gut. That's like that was a good reversal. This freaking movie's good. Here's my flag. It's flying in the wind
On a mountain of dicks.
in a mountain of dicks.
Sorry, bro. You know what?
Mountain of
This
tiny
movie,
dicks. Yeah.
I need to go to the bathroom, and I'm going to go do that. So
Okay.
you guys can talk about this.
All right,
movie.
the last movie on our list is from somebody
Ready Player One.
Ready Player One, Steven Spielberg's freaking CGI freaking memberberry's pie episode.
Your eyes keep getting squintier and squintier the longer we keep recording today.
Just want to go to sleep. All right, guys, we'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. Hey, if you would like to support us here in our drinking habit at the podcast, go to saltynerdstore.com and you can grab some of our merch. We have some great t-shirts available to you, designed by Master Kadish and myself. I just called you Master, didn't I? That was
sure
weird.
did.
All right.
Slave.
I thought you did that on purpose.
No, I didn't.
Master Kadish.
Anyway, head over to saltynerdstore.com. We've got some great t-shirts available. If you type in salty in the checkout counter, you get 10% off. And we would love to see you guys grab some of our stuff and wear it. Send us pictures. We love sharing that kind of stuff on Instagram and whatnot. We'd really appreciate it. Shout out to Gasso and also Aaron. Aaron from Australia. He bought some of our stuff. He wears it to the gym, which is awesome.
Yeah.
All right, guys. The next movie on our list is Steven Spielberg's Ready Player One. Jude, take it away.
Yes, sir. 2018, Ready Player One, rated PG-13 with a runtime of 2 hours, 20 minutes. This had a budget of $175 million. Vader, what do you think this brought in?
Oh my God.
Starting at 175 mil.
600 million.
All right. Alec? $175 million budget.
I don't know, like 220. I don't think it did very well.
Vader wins a speedboat, $582.9 million.
$580 million.
This is a big movie, dude.
It's
Yeah.
a Steven Spielberg film.
Yeah.
Yeah, but that doesn't mean it's
And it was
good.
fucking dope. Okay. In the future, the Oasis is the place to be. The virtual world where you can be anyone and do anything. When the creator of the Oasis died, he left an Easter egg inside the fantasy world, giving whomever finds it control of the world and the company behind it. The first key to finding the egg starts with a race. When Percival, the poor gamer living in the stacks of Columbus, Ohio, is the first person to beat the race and win the key, he's catapulted to fame and goes directly onto the radar of Sorrento, a real dickweed, and head of IOI, the second largest company in the world, who wants control of Oasis for himself. Sorrento will stop at nothing to keep Parzival from gaining the other 2 keys needed to unlock the Easter egg, and in his quest for world domination kills Parzival's only family, his aunt, who's kind of a shitty person and who dates even shittier men. Parzival and his friends team up inside the game to learn everything they can about the late game designer, and try to suss out the next challenge and to keep Sorrento from finding them. They end up learning that the key to the next 2 keys lies in the game designer's biggest regrets in his life, and the key to keeping Sorrento from gaining more power is in teaming up in real life to take Sorrento and IOI down from the inside. Discuss.
Crazy movie.
Ben Mendelsohn, right? Is that his name?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
That's Kathleen Kennedy. I'm just going to say that right now.
Okay.
Okay. So in this movie, Ben Mendelsohn plays a character who, starting off, is just kind of like sucking off the teat of more creative people.
That's Sorrento, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And the big main genius behind everything is what I would call George Lucas. And Ben Mendelsohn is the Kathleen Kennedy to that George Lucas.
I think you're thinking about it.
And he's like, well, there's a line in this movie where he's like, well, the only thing that he was really good at was making a good latte.
Uh-huh.
And I just kept like thinking about that line going, It's kind of what people say about Kathleen Kennedy.
Yeah, no, the line was, he knows how the guy liked his coffee.
Yeah, the guy knows how he likes his coffee.
The most he knew about like the game designer,
right?
was
yeah.
how he liked his coffee,
right? And I just kept thinking, I'm like, okay, I don't know if this is like just an outside perspective on like what's going on with Star Wars or whatnot, but I just kept watching this and I'm like, here's a dude who was all about the corporate greed, who's all about trying to just bank on nostalgia and bank on what other people see as like their idols and make money doing it. He doesn't actually care about any of that stuff. He just wants to make money using it against them. And I'm like, that's kind of how I see Kathleen Kennedy with Star Wars. And that's George Lucas. George Lucas is the genius behind this whole thing. And the only thing that Kathleen Kennedy really had any real connection with George Lucas was how he liked his coffee.
I think you're right.
And I was like, oh, that's super weird. And I'm not saying that George Lucas made this movie as a dig to Kathleen Kennedy, but this
Spielberg.
Huh?
Steven Spielberg made it.
That's why I said Steven Spielberg. And, and I was watching this movie and I'm like, I couldn't help but see that. My honest review of this movie, it's a fun movie, but it's like 95% memberberries.
Yeah.
Like there's not much originality. Thank you. Myself. And there's not much originality to it, but it's just like, hey, remember Back to the Future? Hey, remember King Kong? Hey, remember Jurassic Park? Hey, remember video games? Hey,
remember Iron Giant?
That's
Iron Giant?
what we do every week.
Yeah. No, I'm not like, it's not a negative, but it's just like, there's not a lot to this beyond memberberries.
This thing was an hour too long. Easily, it's 2.5 hours long, man.
Is it really?
Yeah.
Oh shit! Yeah, it's a long time.
This was one of those movies that becomes really hyped. Its fan base is super loyal. People who I mean, I guess there's a book that I haven't read because I don't read, but like I understand that the book is actually way better than the movie.
Okay,
but
that's debatable.
I mean, I haven't read it, so it's just what I've read online and in chats and stuff. But It's this was one of those movies that took me 3 times. It took me three views to get through this thing. Yeah. I found myself kind of bored, to be honest with you. I mean,
it's just a CGI crap fest.
It's a CGI just everywhere. Yeah. It's just like, okay, it's like watching a James Cameron movie. It's like, I got this new tech. We're gonna do some cool stuff. We got the rights. We bought the rights to all these interesting characters from every IP you can imagine.
Yeah.
And we're just going to put them in a movie and do some cool things with it.
They had freaking Halo.
Yeah.
They had like 6 Master Chiefs running up against the bad guys in this movie.
I mean, wouldn't you you would be Master Chief if you could get in the world. This is what I think people want
the metaverse
metaverse to be like.
Yeah.
And I think in 10 years we might be getting there.
Close to that, yeah.
And at the same time, you remember when I said how Surrogate freaked me out?
Yeah.
This freaks me out a little bit, but it's a little bit different. This is where more of the StarCraft, the Warcraft type people that you make fun of kind of like take over the world. You know, with the fat dude, the fat, sweaty, gross dude. They're not making people do butt stuff. They're out there, you know, they're out there playing games, and you know, that's kind of how I see the future of.
Yeah, so like gamers saw the future as like, oh, all the pervs are going to come out of the woodwork and like do pervy shit.
This is just everybody else. This is everybody wants out there to like make money, and
this is every gamer ever.
Coins and shit.
Like, oh, I'm going to go do this mission. I'm going to get a bunch of coins so I can buy a new upgrade for my character. Like, this is like NFTs to the max. So I get it. I understand where they're going with this movie.
This is way more addicting to me than
like. Can you imagine if you did have like a metaverse version and you were playing a bunch of games and you're like, oh, if I get 25,000 coins, I can now buy the DeLorean from Back to the Future and I can use that to drive around the map. Well, of course you would do it.
What's funny to me is like, I'm gonna get in this metaverse. I'm gonna get in whatever this is. What is it called? The
Oasis.
The Oasis. I'm gonna take my avatar in the Oasis and I'm gonna go to the arcade and play old school 80s video games.
I mean,
that's weird.
That's pretty much Grand Theft Auto 5 online, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what this movie is, essentially.
I haven't played that either, so I don't know. But yeah, I get it.
Online gaming in general is just pretty much this.
Yeah.
So I like, it's weirdly accurate to what I think gaming is going to be very, very closely in the near future. I think it's going to be.
Yeah, I think we're getting there.
But as far as a movie goes, I think the only reason why it's entertaining is because of the memberberries.
Yeah.
Like, oh, there's King Kong. Oh, there's Jurassic Park. Oh, there's the freaking Back to the Future. Oh,
Like,
there's like,
how many things from your childhood can you
Yeah.
find in this movie?
Yeah.
Did you notice in the funeral scene, the genius guy, I forget his name, but his coffin was the torpedo tube that they sent Spock's body.
of course it was.
Out in Star Trek 2.
Of course it was. I just like, that's really the biggest positive I can say about this movie. It's not a bad movie. It's fun, but it's just like, it relies way too much on nostalgia, which I guess is kind of the point.
But I mean, like, that was kind of like the thing with the book, is like, it was a throwback. It was like a love letter to the 80s and stuff like that. And actually, Steven Spielberg was mentioned a lot in the book. And when he adapted the movie, he took a lot of the references to himself out of it because he just didn't want to be that like self-aggrandizing, I guess.
Yeah, well, good for him. I maintain that having a drink with Steven Spielberg would be a lot of fun.
Oh, it
So,
would be a blast.
Archie
Yeah.
the Icky in the chat right now wants to know who your avatar would be in the Oasis and what whip would you drive?
I don't know.
I think
probably-
yours would be Matthew McConaughey and Vader's would be Mark Wahlberg.
I don't know.
What would yours be?
I was gonna say like Steve McQueen or something from Bullet. I'd be driving like an old Mustang.
I think Kadish would be Megamind.
Oh yeah, he'd be an ultra villain for sure.
No, dude, I'd get some dude with the beer gut upgrade with the little dick, and you know, I'd go out and try to do a bunch of pervy stuff. No, I don't know.
I'd probably be Jessica Rabbit.
Jessica Rabbit, nice.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting concept to think about. Like, what would you do if you had access to this kind of technology? Like, would you go on races like this where you have to race through a city?
Well, you can live in the Oasis and just do your thing every day, or you be one of these people that's trying to solve the puzzle.
Mhm.
You don't have.
Would
to,
you would you
don't-
go on the Easter egg hunt?
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
That'd be fun. Hell yeah.
I don't
Why
think I would
wouldn't you?
live my life around the
No.
Easter egg hunt, but yeah, I'd probably do
So
it.
like the
I'd be like,
closest.
oh shit, the Easter egg race is starting. Let's go.
So
But-
so here's a great example. Like the deepest I've personally ever got into a video game is Skyrim. Like that was my introduction to like RPG, like role playing games. Like I'd never played anything before. I didn't play Morrowind, anything. Like Skyrim was like the big thing, and that was right around the time I had some exposable income, and I bought myself an Xbox, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna play Skyrim, and I got into that game. That's the closest thing I've ever been to this.
Yeah.
And if within that game, if they were ever like, hey, here's some missions and here's some things that you can do, and if you win these missions and go through these puzzles, then you will be able to own like part of Bethesda. I'd be like, oh fuck yeah, I'm gonna do that.
So listen, I can relate to some of this because back in the day, back when World of Warcraft the first like 3 to 4 years World of Warcraft was out, I was in a really cool and really fun raiding guild. We had like 80 people in the guild. It was a 40-man raiding guild.
Damn.
That was what you had to have for endgame stuff back then, was 40 people for the raid, which means you had to have twice that many people in your guild to be able to get enough people on raid days to come back, you know, with the schedules and everything.
Right.
And we all spent anywhere from 30 to upwards of 60 to some of 70 hours a week in this thing.
Mhm.
And you're plugged in. You are plugged into your game. You
Yeah.
got your headset, you got your microphone, you got your avatars, you got your team speak over, and you're conversing with these people all over the world. And you're forging relationships with these people.
Right.
This guy in this movie and his little crew is the exact same thing. I have personal relationships with 80 people who I only know by their voice and their stupid little orc computer avatar.
Right.
Who, if they were standing in front of me, I wouldn't recognize them for nothing until they said something.
Yeah.
You know, and it's a weird thing. I know people who were in my guild and stuff. They got married in real life. Let's go meet. Let's hook up. You know, happens all the time. It's very strange. So I understand. I understand the whole thing. I had to break myself away from it because it is very addicting. It's extremely addicting. And if it was this immersive, it would be a hard thing to get out of because, you know, I don't know how to explain it. Like, that's why the Surrogate movie freaked me out.
Yeah.
Because it's just that next step. You know what I'm saying? And all these movies this week took me to a weird place where I just did not feel comfortable because I had to break away from this world. And it wasn't even like fully immersive, like Metaverse stuff.
I'm a single player gamer. Like I look for games that have a strong single player narrative. I don't go for the multiplayer.
Yeah, this kind of games cost relationships. Yeah. If I had gone much further down the path I was going on, I would probably not be married.
Right.
Because it was affecting my relationship with my wife at the time.
Like Skyrim, single player game. Yeah. Halo, single player game.
It's like she goes, "Are you going to come to bed?" It's like, "No, I'm in the middle of a raid. Shut up."
Yeah. No, I
have 40 people here depending on me being here right now. You know, that's where I was at.
That's where these people live.
And that's where the people in this game live. Yeah. Right. And it's a weird thing. And I know a ton of people out there who have lost relationships but some of them gain relationships. But I wonder about these people who meet in these games, what their marriage is like. Do they just move in with each other and set their computers next to each other? Together? Go, ooh. Like, yes. Hey, you want to go fuck? Well, no, I'm not ready to go to. I don't know. It's weird, right? It's
a weird thing.
It's a weird thing. And it's a strange way to build relationships on these days. And it's legit. I know people that have been married now for how long has World of Warcraft been out? Probably over 10 years now, some of them. I have a couple of really good friends that live down in Arizona.
Okay.
That met in this game. Yeah.
Jude. See you side-eyeing me.
I'm like, Jude, you are not a gamer.
No, I'm not.
How do you feel about this movie?
I loved this movie. And I think everything that you found eye-rolly and cringy was the stuff that I enjoyed about it. And I remember Kadish and I went to go see this together at the movies, and I didn't want to go see it because I was like, I'm not into this. Mm-hmm. But I thoroughly enjoyed it for all of the things that probably made it silly for you. I loved the soundtrack. I loved all of the movie membaberries. I'm not a gamer, but I could totally see myself in this world. And like, as you guys are talking about it, I was like, what am I talking about? I would never be in this world because I don't game. I'm not a gamer. I don't do this stuff. Mm-hmm. But I totally put myself in this perspective, and I was like, oh yeah, this is what I would do if I was in this world. And it totally made me put myself in it. And so I think that was probably the desired effect. So it got me.
Cool. Kadish, as a Steven Spielberg fanatic, how do you feel about this movie?
I really enjoy this movie. I am a big Steven Spielberg stan. So like, you know, he hasn't been doing a lot of like really good work lately. Like he's been getting into like, you know, like musicals and like weird stuff. So like this was like a good throwback to like the 80s Steven Spielberg, like that I grew up loving. But before I get into it, I want to give Vader a heads up. This movie and the source material that it's based on has extreme ties to one Will Wheaton.
Oh no!
Maybe that's why I didn't really like this movie.
I don't know if Vader was aware of this or not, but basically, so like Will Wheaton
can suck my ass. What?
Okay, 3, 2, 1.
Fuck you, Will Wheaton.
So basically, Will Wheaton has a small cameo in this movie. There's a picture of him on a mirror in H's like room, like workshop or whatever. But one of the reasons that he's involved in this is number one, he's referenced in the book. He's actually like on like the leadership council of like the of like the user base of the Oasis in the book. And ironically enough, like that was enough to get him to agree to do the audio narration for the audiobook version of Ready
Player One. I'm never going to
One.
listen to this book.
Oh, yeah, no.
I'm out.
Yeah,
no.
and so like he read both the Ready Player One and Ready Player Two, which is the sequel to this. So this movie has, or I should say, this property has a lot of ties to Will Wheaton.
Why would you subject us to that?
Hold on.
But so getting back to Steven Spielberg,
It is. I'm sorry, I just pulled it up on Audible. It says Ready Player One, narrated by Will Wheaton. Never, ever gonna listen to this.
Do not use our code for that book.
So getting back to Steven Spielberg, one of the interesting things about this movie, so like first of all, Steven Spielberg said this was like one of the hardest movies he's ever had to make.
Oh, I bet.
And a lot of that has to come down to the rights issues associated with it. Like there are so many references in this movie. So this movie was produced by Warner Brothers. So anything Warner Brothers related was like easy. So like Batman, The Shining, like whatever. So like basically there was like an entire team of lawyers, or like 40 lawyers, whose only job was to get clearances for all the stuff they wanted to do. And they had to negotiate with Disney, Paramount, Sony, and Universal in order to get the rights to use a lot of this stuff. And when they couldn't do it through the lawyers, Steven Spielberg had to personally like call up people and kind of pull in favors and stuff like that. And so like a lot of his time was spent negotiating just to get the rights to use some of this stuff. And one of the funny things about it is like in the book, there's a lot of Star Wars references.
Right.
And basically Disney had just acquired Star Wars around the time that they were doing this. In fact, like this movie had to be pushed back in order to not compete with The Last Jedi. And Steven Spielberg like negotiated hard with Disney, and Disney was like, we're not letting you use anything Star Wars.
Fuck Disney so much.
Yeah. And so like they weren't able to use anything Star Wars in the film.
I'm sorry.
You seem incredulous about something. What is it? What's bothering you?
You get a fucking phone call from Steven Spielberg, and he says, hey, I'm making this movie, and I would like to reference one of your fucking characters. And you say no?
I was just going to say, like, imagine being the big dick energy kind of guy who's like, oh, my lawyers couldn't handle this for me. I'm going to call him.
Yeah, I mean, they could have just like put. It didn't have to be Darth Vader or Obi-Wan. Put a stormtrooper in there.
Listen,
just once in my life, I want to throw that kind of energy on the table like a forearm.
In the fucking Neververse of like some movie gets made and they want to reference the Salty Nerd podcast, and I get a call from fucking Steven Spielberg saying, hey, I'm making this movie and it's about podcasters and I'd like to use you as an avatar.
Steven Spielberg, just FYI, you're clear to go.
I'm like,
yeah, sure,
fuck, yes, you can. Yeah. Are you kidding me?
Put us in the credits, okay, bro?
What can I do to help you make this movie?
Live in a world where people think that they are more important and more valuable than anyone else in the fucking room.
Forget, I get a phone call, or Cage gets a phone call from Steven Spielberg. We'll be pissing our pants.
If you ever tell Steven Spielberg no, we're going to flip the fucking table.
Spielberg owes me $20.
You're fired. Like, I just can't imagine that as like a WB executive, like, hey, I'd like to use one of your characters from our movie that we're going to be making. And you're like, no, legally you can't because it doesn't give us credit. Like, fuck you, dude. That's goddamn Steven Spielberg.
Yeah,
let him do what he wants.
There are actually a couple instances. So in addition to the Star Wars thing, in the book, there's a Blade Runner scene where they actually go into like the world of Blade Runner.
Right. That's sick.
And at the time, even though Blade Runner is
Sven Thorson there and he's doing steroids in the back.
In the book, even though Blade Runner is a Warner Brothers property, they were gearing up for the sequel, Blade Runner 2049. And the production house, the owners of the rights to Blade Runner, didn't want to give permission to use anything Blade Runner because they were afraid it would steal the thunder of the sequel.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And I mean, like, there was a lot of stuff. So like in the book, there's also a big part of it is this character Ultraman, who's like a Japanese character. Mm-hmm. And it was like involved in like a legal quagmire. So like they weren't able to use it and they replaced it with the Iron Giant in the movie. And also, this is one of only 3 films that John Williams never scored for Steven Spielberg. And the reason for that was because he was busy on another project, and Steven Spielberg used Alan Silvestri to do.
Steven Spielberg was just like, I just got it on my Spotify. It's fine.
Yeah. So Alan Silvestri actually did the score for this, and he's the original composer for the Back to the Future movies. And so like whenever you hear the Back to the Future like stinger in this movie, it's
you can totally feel that.
Yeah. But the biggest part of this movie was like, it's actually very technically innovative, especially in terms of the metaverse, because what would happen, it was kind of a precursor to the Volume, which is like, Disney's big like digital soundstage.
Yeah.
And what they did was ILM basically created all these sets virtually, not only the sets of the Oasis, but also like the actual like physical sets. They made like a Unreal Engine 5 version of them. And Steven Spielberg and his film crew would put on Oculus Rift, 3D glasses or VR glasses, and go into the sets that were built virtually and figure out how they were going to light it. And shoot
that's
it.
So freaking cool,
yeah,
man.
So like this movie about like entering a virtual world metaverse was actually shot by entering a virtual world metaverse.
That's so
and
cool.
Figuring out like where they were going to frame stuff. And the other big part about this movie was, so in the book, the middle key or the copper key, I forget what, but in the movie they go into the Overlook Hotel where they enter like into the Shining.
in the Shining.
Emerald key, I think. Emerald?
Something like that.
Yeah.
One of the keys. But in the book, it was basically the movie War Games. And
Oh, cool.
yeah. And so like in the book, you basically had to like
Butter your corn exactly properly with the bread.
you
And then it had to be raw.
yeah.
In the book, you literally had to go through the entire movie of War Games and recite all of Matthew Broderick's lines from memory. And
Oh,
Spielberg
nice.
Spielberg was like, that's kind of boring. Can we like shake this up? And Steven Spielberg was actually really close with Stanley Kubrick, who like he worked on this movie called AI with him for like 10 years.
Fuck, I hate that movie.
Did the Shining.
Yeah, Shining.
So basically, Steven Spielberg came up with the idea. It's like, hey, I want to shout out to Kubrick. Can we make this into The Shining? Because it was a Warner Brothers movie.
Yeah,
You know,
I thought that was really well done.
Yeah, which was really interesting because one of my favorite parts of this movie is when the dude, I think his name is Zed or Z or something like that, the big dude that's the main character's friend. H. Thank you. He goes into he goes into room 237 and he sees the bathtub and I'm like, wait a second, this is like a PG movie. How far are they going to go?
I thought the same thing.
They were like, we're gonna go all the way, guys. And they were like,
gonna go as far as
that
we can.
fucking crazy bitch came out of the bathtub and was like trying to kiss him, and then
She
started
was super murdery.
trying to shank him with his freaking knives and shit. I was like, oh my god.
Well, the great thing about the Shining sequence is that so basically like that entire scene was like CGI, and they actually took like frames from the movie and recreated them digitally and put in like the film grain and like perfectly recreated the look and feel of the movie, like in this movie in a digital space.
When's the last time any of you guys watched The Shining? When's the last time you watched The Shining?
I've never been able to finish it.
Oh, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that?
I said I've never been able to finish it.
Never?
Not my kind of movie. I do not like it. Not joking. You have your thing. I have my thing.
Is it too scary for you?
I don't know, man. Yeah, a little. It's just it's never. I think I'm gonna remember when I refused to watch The Exorcist, and I just said, okay, I'm just gonna watch this movie, and then it was really dumb when I watched it. I think I'm gonna probably have to do that this October with The Shining.
I want to say that the scariness factor is about equal with The Exorcist.
Because I don't know, it just never came up for me. I don't know why.
I think Exorcist is probably scarier.
Do you?
Yeah.
June, when's the last time you watched The Shining?
Maybe a year ago?
Okay. Kadish?
Probably the same time that Jude watched it.
Probably,
Okay.
yeah.
I watched
But I've seen that movie millions of times.
Yeah.
watched it like 3 weeks ago. I was like, oh, The Shining? Yeah. I haven't seen that in a minute.
Oh,
Click.
it's more just like psychological freaky.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
not that scary.
No, I'm sure it's not.
No, it's not like terrifying.
Exorcist is like demons,
Yeah.
scary.
Yeah. Shining is more
Have you ever
psychological.
seen The Exorcist?
So what I did was Exorcist.
It doesn't seem like a thing that you would watch.
think
No,
I've
we
seen the whole
watched.
thing.
Yeah,
I have seen The Exorcist of Emily Rose, which I will
The Exorcism of it.
which is
whatever the fuck
probably
it
way
is.
scarier than The
I'm
Exorcist.
never gonna watch that movie again. Ever. You guys ask me to watch that movie, I'm gonna be camping in the woods and you're gonna be like doing the podcast by
Yeah,
yourself.
If
But The
we-
Shining, like this scene, the scene where these people in Ready Player One went to The Shining, like it was so fresh in my memory. I had so much fun watching him do that.
Yeah.
And you know what's funny about this movie is like, so there were so many special effects shots that not only had to be created but also like rendered and stuff like that, that Steven Spielberg went off and made The Post, which was the Meryl Streep movie that he made.
Fuck you, Meryl Streep.
during the making of this movie. So like ILM had time to like do all the special effects and stuff like that. So like he literally like shot like the live action part and then started on the digital part, and that digital part kind of covered the making of The Post, which I thought was kind of interesting.
That's cool.
Huh.
I will say, like, I don't think this is a great movie, but I do have a lot of fun watching it. I think this is my second time watching the movie. Once I watched it, just when it first came out, I was like, oh, I'll check it out. Whatever. It's Steven Spielberg. It's cool video game stuff. This is the first time I watched it for the podcast, and I was like, I had a ton of fun with it, but it was, like I said, 90% memberberries. Like I was watching like the Iron Giant, dude. I freaking love that movie.
Yeah.
I love Iron Giant. And when he showed up in the big final battle scene, like to me, that whole sequence of like the good versus evil big final battle on the snowy planet or whatever, That was the best moment. That was the top tier moment for this movie.
A quick funny story. So before we watched this, we had started the Ted Lasso show on Apple TV, and there's a scene in there where he's showing the Iron Giant to all of his players, and he turns to his assistant coach before he has to leave to talk to his boss, and he's like, in about 40 minutes, there's not going to be a grown man in here who isn't teary-eyed.
Yeah, for real.
Iron Giant's great.
Isn't that the voice of Iron Giant is
It's Vin Diesel.
Vin Diesel, yeah.
Is it?
Yeah, it's I Am Groot. It's the same dude. Yeah, same voice.
He says like two things. In the
Yeah,
movies.
well, it has no speaking lines, but yeah.
Honestly, you know I hate animation. I love Iron Giant.
A funny story about Iron
You
Giant.
hate animation, so you hated this movie? Because this movie's a freaking cartoon.
It's 99% animation.
You fucking come for me.
Am I coming for you? I was saying.
Iron Giant. When Iron
Shut the
Giant
fuck up, Tony.
when Iron Giant first came out, I was pretty little, and I remember going to a mall when malls were still a thing.
I remember malls.
Yeah, and I walked in, and like they had this like PR team or whatever that was working on Iron Giant, and they came up to me as a kid, and they were like, "Hey, you're our target demographic. We would like to get your feedback on this movie and on this."
Where was this?
It was in New Hampshire or Connecticut or something
Okay.
like that. Yeah. And they were like, here's a couple of posters that we're doing for this movie that's going to come out soon. What do you think could be better about it? And I remember looking at it. It was Iron Giant, very clearly Iron Giant when he's flying into the sky and he's got the two jets behind him. And their poster had like clouds or like smoke coming out of his feet. And I remember I'm looking at it. I'm like, you know what would be better is if he had flames coming out of his feet, because it would make more sense. Like, what's smoke? Smoke doesn't do anything, but flames means you're moving and it gives you momentum. This is my 7-year-old brain freaking thinking this shit. And I'm like, I would change it to flames. And like, sure enough, after the movie came out, I saw it and I was like, oh, I remember they were talking about that movie. And then like
I'm gonna start a podcast.
when I got the VHS, it was like they changed it and they put
Nice.
flames on his feet. And I was like, yes, that's freaking
funny.
awesome. So yeah, I have super nostalgia for
Yeah,
Iron
but
Giant.
that final battle scene in this movie though was freaking great.
Awesome.
Where it's just like you got the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, you got
Yes.
Chucky like stabbing people with his knife. It's just like it was a really great.
Oh,
end
dude, that
scene.
moment where they're like, here, throw this. And he's like, he throws it out the window. And then the one IOI guy is like, that's fucking Chucky. They use the one F-bomb for the PG-13 rating in this.
Chucky takes out like 30 people
Yes,
in
yeah.
like a second.
I loved it, dude. It was
Yeah,
hilarious.
and
Yeah.
there were a lot of Overwatch characters in this. There was some Mortal Kombat characters. You had the Halo guys.
Yeah.
The Firefly, the Serenity showed up in this
Yeah.
at the end. Like there was just like so many like cool little like references, and there's so many in this movie that like I'm sure like I haven't even like scratched the surface on them all.
Okay, so I feel like this movie accomplishes the thing that I think a lot of movies try. And it's like making your audience like fully invest in something and feeling the things that the characters are feeling.
Mhm.
Like when there was like a tense moment, I was like, "Ee!" Like I felt like I was in it in this battle. Like, oh shit, duck. And like it fully made me feel like I was in this movie. And I felt like that was a job well done, and it accomplished what it set out to do.
There was a couple of classic Spielberg things where like the main character lives in like a trailer park or something like that, like a low budget, like he's not
flats or the
rich.
stacks.
The stacks.
Yeah,
the stacks. There's a trailer park,
Yeah.
a vertical trailer park.
Yeah, the vertical trailer parks.
Yeah.
I like
Literally.
that because I was like, I laugh at that
It's the
because
Last Starfighter.
I think of Last Starfighter. I think of Marty McFly. I think of all of the classic Spielberg characters who just like, they're down on their luck. They're not rich. They're just normal people.
Columbus, Ohio.
Yeah, but they go on
rich.
they go on these incredible journeys and these incredible adventures. I'm like, that's
I think
very
you guys
Spielberg.
like this movie way more than I did. I was bored.
Really?
Yeah, this was a boring movie.
Get out of here.
It was. I was just bored.
No,
Better
for real,
than
get
Game of-
outta
It
here.
was too long, and I was bored. I felt like the story was kind of simple, and they just like to throw a bunch of CGI out there. It's all it was. It was a cartoon.
I feel like your Grinch heart just wasn't ready for it.
Maybe in my heart's 3 sizes too small or something. I
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
But,
I will say that the final battle, the big battle where they have like Mecha Godzilla and Iron Giant, all that shit. That they have freaking John 117, Spartan, like army. Like
We could
It's cool,
We could go
man.
for 3 days with all the little
Little
things that they
cameos,
film.
yeah.
yeah.
Well,
because-
that's what this movie was banking on.
I loved how they even set up like, ooh, that app is fucking dope that you get to be like whatever robot you choose for 2 minutes. And then in the final battle, he chose the robot for 2 minutes. And then
he chose Gundam.
yeah, and he had to like just fight until it ran out. And you were, for me, I was just so invested. I was like, it's almost time up, motherfucker.
Yeah. Yeah. It was cool, man. I had a lot of fun with this movie.
I love this movie.
What's your score?
Jesus Christ, dude.
I want to know what your score is.
You want me to tip his chair over?
Yeah, push him, kick him in the kidney.
In the little dick.
In the little dick. In his avatar's little dick.
You missed. It's that little.
I was in the pool.
Miss
There
me,
were
bitch.
cones.
There were cones. God damn it. There's just, I understand where you're coming from, man. It's a lot of nostalgia. Like member berries.
Yeah.
That's what this movie feeds off of.
I
Well, that's
love
that's really all this-
memberberries.
But I
It's a simple
love,
story with a lot of member berries.
but I love myself a big old fat slice of member berry pie.
yeah, but this movie did it. It was over. It was too much.
I disagree.
Pluck
much.
those
That's all it
member
was.
berries off the vine and put them in my mouth raw. I'll eat a whole mouthful of member berries.
Yeah, nuts on nuts. Is that
Nuts
it?
on nuts. I love nuts on nuts.
Any kind of nut butter would
Yeah.
really do.
You can copy me with nut on nut.
I'm gonna say it's a solid 3.5, almost 4. If I don't know, if like Spielberg made a cameo in this movie, I think it might be a 4-star movie.
I think you guys just got.
Stan Lee.
Right? Yeah.
I think you guys just got a hard on because it says Steven Spielberg in the credits.
I don't agree with you, but that's okay. What's your star rating?
I don't know, 2.5, maybe 3.
2.5.
Yeah,
Okay.
I was bored.
All right. That's
It was a
okay.
boring ass movie.
It's okay.
Sorry.
But you're the eye candy guy, though.
I know, and this movie didn't do it.
All right.
I'm sorry. I don't know.
No, that's fine.
I'd rather go watch Pacific Rim again or something.
Fuck.
That movie's way more fun than this thing.
I'm sorry. We're gonna talk about Pacific Rim at some point in time on this
Oh, I
podcast,
can't wait.
and I'm gonna try and figure out what your fucking
It's
brain
just
is
fun.
wrong with you.
As soon as
This
we
is
get
fun.
done recording today, we're having a basketball dance off.
I don't even know what that means.
And the winner is the winner.
I need to drink less. Jude, what's your rating for
4
this movie?
DeLoreans out of 5.
4?
Yeah, I love this
Holy
movie.
shit.
Fucking fill me up with those member berries. I don't give a shit.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll sing all the songs. I'll dance all the dances. I'll avatars all the avatars. Give it to me.
4.
4.
What's your favorite moment?
Fuck, what's the guy with the coin? What do they call him? The conductor or whatever?
Oh, the Ask Jeeves guy at the.
Yeah,
Oh.
I love that guy.
He's Simon Pegg?
Yeah.
Yeah, who turns
Yeah.
out to be Simon Pegg at the end of the movie.
Yeah.
What did they call him?
The curator.
It's
The
like the
curator.
curator.
The curator. I love the curator. He's
Okay.
just like, I don't think you're correct in that, sir. And then he like, oh, I'll bet you all my coins. I didn't mean to do that. He's like, I'll bet you all my coins. And then he turns out to be right. And the curator's like, bet's a bet, sir. And he flips in the coin, which turns out to be like the one life that he needs at the end of the movie, which saves him, which gets him like it makes him win at the end of the movie. It's just it's so
Setup and
good.
payoff.
It's fucking good.
So he
Okay.
helped. So he
It's
helped him
fucking
cheat.
good.
He helped him cheat. It was really good. Good message. All right.
I'm gonna flip your chair over.
What's wrong with you?
I don't know.
Put you in a sleeper hold.
The salty gamer over here is like freaking game
Don't
upgrade.
fucking yuck my yum.
Free DLC.
Son of a
Give him a
bitch.
more powerful weapon. Bullshit. Whatever.
My surrogate and your surrogate are in a fight.
I do butt stuff with our kids. That'd be way more fun. We'll do some butt stuff.
That's my surrogate's
So you can do butt stuff to
specialty.
me because you'd be the dude and I'd be the chick and I'd be that guy, fat, sweaty dude in the couch sitting there.
I'm gonna make you my hand puppet.
Oh God, this is the greatest shit ever. It's like do butt stuff.
I'm gonna put my fist up there and make you say shit
We'll rub some fucking
like a muppet.
Wonder Bread with maple syrup on my
Kiddish,
face.
what do you think of this movie?
So you know, I kind of divide up Steven Spielberg's career into pre Schindler's List and post Schindler's List.
Wait, what year did Schindler's List come out?
Late
Before
90s?
this.
I think it was like 94, 95, something like that.
After.
Um,
Oh, that's right. He was working on it at the same time he was working on Jurassic Park.
Yeah.
Okay.
So basically, everything after Schindler's List that he's done has been very disappointing, and everything before Schindler's List was like classic.
I'm with you, brother.
And I feel like this is like his one movie since Schindler's List that is kind of like a callback to his old school filmmaking, which I actually really love. And the book, which was written by Ernest Cline, is kind of based off of like the quest for the Holy Grail, you know, and this is basically that story.
Right.
In fact, even the main character's avatar is named Percival, who was like one of the knights in King Arthur's court, and he goes looking for the Holy Grail in order to restore King Arthur's court to its former glory. And it's basically the same story, but with like a ton of like great 80s and 90s references. And I even put stuff like that in my own books, you know, where like, you know, I'll take stuff that inspired me and kind of like work it into my novels. But I truly love like this movie. Like it's a fun movie. I wouldn't say it's quite on the scale of like stuff like Indiana Jones or like E.T. or Back to the Future or anything like that Spielberg worked on in the 80s. But I do feel like it's as close as we've gotten to vintage Spielberg in a long time. And because of that, I got to give it 4 Zemeckis cubes out of 5. Like, this is a very fun, wonderful movie.
I want to make a shirt that says I'm a fan of vintage Spielberg, and it just has like E.T.'s finger touching Elliot.
I think that we should do a classic Spielberg week.
Ooh, that's a fucking great idea, Jude.
All right. Sounds good. We can just all gush over Steven Spielberg movie for 2.5 hours.
Maybe we should have Tom on that week.
Get the fuck rid of Vader. This fucking salty bastard over here.
Are we the Salty Nerd podcast or the I Love Everything podcast?
You want to talk about the Goonies? I'll shit all over the Goonies if you want me to.
I think we're done with
Speaking of the Goonies, speaking of, if you want to win the Goonies DVD and also Godzilla, King of the Monsters,
you got to listen to the show prior to this one.
Yeah, you got to type in go to saltynerd.discord.com and type in the codes Zombie Juice.
Don't tell them the code. They got to know what the code is already.
If they've gotten this far, they've got to be fans at this point, right?
That's fine.
Yeah.
What was the second code?
Egyptian.
That's right. Head over to Discord.
That's my field sobriety word.
Head over to Discord and let us know what the 2 secret codes are. Zombie Juice and Egyptian. All right, that's it for today's episode. I had a ton of fun this week. I had more fun than I thought I was going to have. Gamer's the best movie of the week. Sorry, guys.
You are incorrect.
You're all wrong.
Surrogate.
Surrogate? That movie sucks.
Ready Player One.
We like all over the place.
All right, V, where can they find you on the socials?
You can find me at MattVader74 on Twitter and all the rest of them.
What are you doing on Saturdays?
Star Trek talk.
Great.
Here on this channel. 10 p.m. 10 a.m.
Good job.
10 a.m.
10 a.m.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Jude, what's going on?
You can find me at I am Juju on Instagram and on TikTok. And you can find me playing trivia once a month with our Patreon members. So join the club at saltynerdclub.com at either the $5 or $30 tier. And you can come do trivia with us once a month.
Yep. The next trivia is Firefly.
Yeah.
Which you better have your freaking A game ready.
You better have your A game ready.
Just saying.
The last one you tied with Anima, which is it's
a contested victory.
True. But you've been working so hard.
It's the 2020 election of the Salty Nerd podcast.
Yeah, I don't let any of these guys know any of the trivia questions or the answers or anything. I do it all myself, and so we all participate. And if you're a Patreon member, you participate with us, and we play against each other. Not with me. I'm the MC. And Alex has been working so hard to try to win trivia, and you're coming up in the ranks. You're coming up in the ranks. I feel strong for you.
I've got Firefly.
Okay,
it's in the bag.
I'm excited for you.
It's my victory coming up.
I wish that show was better.
I think Anima needs a new title because she tied the last one. So is she still the 2-time trivia champ?
I don't know, I haven't made it.
You can't take her champs away.
Yeah.
So of course.
Yeah. So Anima is the reigning champ right now, and she's the one to beat. So join the club and see if you can beat her, because nobody has been able to so far.
Yeah. All right, Cage, where can they find you at?
You can find me on Twitter at Matthew Kadish, Kadish. And you can also find me at kadishbooks.com. That'll take you to my Amazon page where you can check out my books. And also, if you'd be so kind, go to saltynerd.com/rate, RATE, and leave us a 5-star rating on Apple Podcasts. We're trying to get up to 200 so we can be officially verified by Rotten Tomatoes as movie reviewers. We're at about 150 ratings right now. So anything that you guys can do will help us out, and we'd really appreciate it.
All right, guys, you can catch me on our Discord app, saltynerddiscord.com. I'm there every single day chatting with our people and having a great time talking about movies. And I don't know what just happened. Thank you guys for listening to this episode of the podcast. Let us know what your favorite human sim surrogate freaking metaverse movie is.
Don't. We don't care.
Comment below.
Tell us what your avatar would be.
Yes. Oh, that's a great idea. What would your
Yes.
avatar be? Would you be a barbarian space Viking like Vader over here? Or would you be a handsome man like me? All right, that's it. We're done. All right, everybody. Have a great day. Stay salty, my friends.